up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. That's right, it's Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1 again. It's where every show is our first show, because we can't get to episode 2 until we do episode 1 right, and we just don't do that thing. That's the one thing we do right, is get episode 1 wrong. So guys, have your drinks ready. Have a drink for any technical difficulties. There'll be aplenty. I'm at Ref Marsh. We're at WOTR, the show. With me today on Thursday Night Chaser, Miss Amanda Jayne. What's going on, Miss Amanda Jayne?
Oh, hey, everybody. You know, usual, except it's hotter than Hades here, but you're not going to, it's not, you're kind of hotter than Hades in Arizona, so I shouldn't bitch about that.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I wonder if I can move this a little bit. I got a new camera, so now everything's shifted. We'll see how it all goes.
Technology.
Yep. We'll start with something simple. A little bit of what's in your glass. What are you drinking there, Miss Amanda Jayne?
Today, actually, because it's hot, and noticed last time I drank it, it got very warm very fast. So I have a nice mug of pineapple shirt, the Trader Joe's hard cider. So
that's cool.
It's a refreshing beverage on a hot day.
That sounds awesome. I'm having some keto sweet tea with some vodka in it, finishing off the old ocean vodka. So it'll be a nice little bit of tea. Plenty of stuff to drink away today.
Oh yeah.
I got my LJN referee now. My little ref collection in the back's becoming pretty close to complete. I mean, it's not all of them, but I'm getting some of the heavy hitters. Like I got the Shane McMahon SummerSlam, Earl Hebner.
You don't want an Aubrey Edwards?
No way. I've thought about that. Someone asked me if I would buy one just to get. I don't want that figure. I do not want that figure.
If you see it for like 2 cents at a flea market, then yes. I think $1. Anything more than $1. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's pushing it. Taekwon in the chat says hello. Cheers to Taekwon.
Here's Taekwon.
Yeah, there isn't. He's asking about the Aubrey Edwards figure. There is one. It comes with a ring. I want to say it's one of those ringside collectible exclusive ones. Yeah, you get like a $150 ring, and it comes with an Aubrey Edwards figure. And yeah, not all that
Rick
interested.
Knox, man.
But
they need a Rick Knox.
Rick Knox is identifiable.
Or the senior official, Paul Turner. But I'm not saying that because Paul is like probably my favorite ref that they have. But, you know, shout out Paul Turner.
I mean, it's also a bummer that they lost Earl Hebner. Like, he was there in the beginning and was only there for a couple months, really.
Well, Aubrey chased him out. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you don't listen. People are saying stuff will leave.
Yeah. Also happens when you kiss somebody's ass hard enough.
Yeah. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what it is, though. So we'll just figure it out as we go.
No.
We may or may not get a Shakes in here. What's going on?
So the ref you got, the LJN one, that wasn't modeled after anybody, was it, in particular?
So
or was it just generic ref?
The belief that we have, me and a couple other people, without being able to dig in really that deep on it, the belief is it's modeled after Dave Hebner as like a generic model, but that they then changed features on it so it was definitely not Dave Hebner. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that it started with him, and then it was like, okay, now let's widen this and shorten that, and it was like, okay, definitely not him. We don't have to pay royalties to him now. You know what I mean? It's referee. And Taekwon says they need a figure for the the woman who refs all the Edge matches. I do think WWE should put out more ref figures. I do think so. Like, I know they have those Build-A-Figure sets where they got like the Vince McMahon from WrestleMania 3. You can build a Danny Davis referee. You could build a Jimmy Hart. Now you could build, I think, little mini Dominic. I do think that there should be a series that goes through a few of the notable refs, like who he's talking about, Jessica Carr, maybe a John Cone, obviously Charles Robinson and Tim White would be on the list for me, you know. Jimmy Corderas would be cool, you know, but you know, they don't show the refs as enough love. Even if they at least started with Teddy Long as a ref, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be kind of nice. I'm not, we're not asking for things like, oh, I don't know, like when that Cardona did, did he do his ref thing in WWE or was it out of WWE?
That was Impact.
Ah, okay.
But then again,
Yeah,
I think
can't
honestly,
be-
if I was them and I was going to release some right away, especially like with the build-a-ref kind of concept, I think I'd start with Tim White. You know, he just passed away, and he's so notable for so many reasons. I would start right there, and then maybe start setting a precedent of that. We'll start seeing some of these notable contributors that aren't getting their flowers, as it were, otherwise, because they still don't put refs in the Hall of Fame. Not unless you did something else. Like Teddy Long's technically the only ref in the Hall of Fame because he was the only full-time ref, but he made it in the Hall of Fame because he became a GM. You know? What about the Charles Robinsons who've been doing it since '92 and is as notable as it gets, you know?
You know, what's interesting, and I just thought about it since we're talking about refs.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen on MTV the wrestling one, the deathmatch one.
Celebrity Deathmatch, yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, the ref in that
Miles
reminds me
Lane.
of Rick Knox. The first time I ever saw Knox, ref, and I was like, fucking dude from the MTV.
That was Miles Lane. I thought that too when I first saw Rick Knox. I was like, is that like a Miles Lane's cousin or something? Like, they do look very similar.
That means we're old. For those who don't know what the hell we're talking about.
It means not only are we old, but I've been obsessed with refs for way too long. If I remember boxing refs from the 90s. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's when you know you're like, I'm deep into ref culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's do some fun stuff. I mean, you know, always fun talking about refs. Always enjoy it myself. But we got some birthdays. This was a heavy birthday week, I think.
Yes,
a lot of heavyweights.
It is. Yeah, a lot of heavyweights. So I'm not going to give you the dates. I'm just going to run down who's got birthdays. Jeff Jarrett has a birthday this week. Happy birthday.
Double J.
Charlie Caruso. Woo.
Charlie Caruso.
Caruso.
I have a Charlie Caruso signed card. Right before she left WWE, they put her in a set. And Charlie, Kayla, and Renee Young were ones that they were such big characters on screen that when they came out with a card that was signed, I got it. JoJo. I have a JoJo card when they came out with her for one round. It was her and like a piece of like ring attire. So I'm sure one of her dresses they just shredded and put into a thing, you know. But like Charlie Caruso was one where I remember thinking, I don't think we're going to have her very long. And so it'll be notable because there's probably not going to be a lot of these out there, you know. So she was one that when I see her do all the big stuff in ESPN, I'm all like, all right, got it while I could.
Well, did they make one with Eva Marie with some of her red hair? I would have got that.
That'd be funny. Like ring-used weave.
But... Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ring-worn weave or whatever. Yeah, that'd be so good. Let's see here. We've got Diamante has a birthday.
Very good.
The Boogeyman. Heath Slater. That guy, dude, let me just tell you. Man, I mean, you know, I didn't, for a long time, I haven't watched the WWE product. But Heath Slater was one of those guys that just was like trucking along.
Yes.
And that
awesome.
staple. And I thought that was pretty cool. So, happy birthday, dude. Anna Jay. And of course, her Dark Order partner, Evil Uno. So, giving me the claw. QT Marshall has a birthday this week. Bobby Lashley, Mojo Rawley.
Mojo's another one. Mojo's another one that's like inspirational to talk to, and one of those guys who has that same kind of Cardona mindset, that always ready, kind of like always never blaming anyone else, always saying, what can I do better that I can control, you know, like he's a good one.
Yeah. I earned a mad respect for him when he went on the Grunt Cruise, and that was just like, whoa. shit. That's all I know. That would have been fun times had by all.
Yes.
Killer Cross, happy birthday. One of my personal favorites, and it's really kind of shitty, but we'll get into that in a moment. Mandy Rose, happy birthday, girlfriend.
Oh,
we'll talk about that one.
Yeah, she's doing awesome.
Mm.
I've seen a lot of people give her crap. She's been a champion almost a year in NXT at this point, and to be honest,
yeah,
I'm ready for it to be over, but it's not because I think that it needs to be over. I'm ready for her to take this version of her to the main roster. I want to see more of her on a bigger stage. Like, not that I don't want her as the champion. I think that she needs to be doing even more. Like, it's one of those things, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that tag team itself is just so developed now that it's got to go to that main roster and make an impact, especially since obviously we're not getting Sasha Banks back and Naomi back, so that's a nice little that is filled in there. Still more birthdays. Jesse the Body Ventura. I don't know, I kind of liked political Jesse Ventura, but I know he had wacky things because he's, red state kind of guy, but for the most part, he did probably a better job than Linda McMahon would ever do. So, happy birthday. Al Snow has a birthday this week, and let's see here. Am I forgetting him even? No, but I did want to shout out someone's birthday that we lost last year, Daphne, and mental health is reminder to everybody, it's some pretty serious shit, and I know like out here in the wrestling universe, whether it be mostly the social media, the online, the IWC, it can be a bitch, and and a lot of times it not only affects other fans, but sometimes it affects the actual talent. So, you want to, kind of watch it, monitor what you say, but definitely if you see someone that's struggling or whatever, people sometimes things that they do are a cry for help or something. So definitely, make sure your buddies are okay and that. So rest in peace, Steph, and happy birthday up there.
Yeah.
I know that was a bummer. I drank it, but
no, but I mean it's true, and then all that stuff is super important, and it is one of those things that, like right before we came on, I told you that I saw two personalities really going at it back and forth, and it was a massive strain for a period of time, and not even trying to be even somewhat humane to each other, and there's a certain part where you're kind of reading it saying, oh, this is kind of funny, they're going back and forth, but I mean you said it better than even before I even got to say that. I was like, oh, they went back and forth. Your first thought, even though you're a big fan of one of them, just went, gosh, why are they even bother? Like, just stop. Like, why do they need to try to tear each other down and just ignore each other? You know what I mean? Like,
well,
that stuff affects people.
The one that we're saying that I'm a fan of, I mean, I know that's part of your shtick, but sometimes it's like, dude, I will say 9 times out of 10, he's pretty spot on.
Well, there's that. I'm not saying anybody was wrong or anything. I'm just saying that, like you said, you look at it and you go, what's the necessity of this? And where are we going with this? What's the payoff? Like, you're taking your time trying to see if you can hurt somebody. Like, why? On both sides, why?
Yeah. Quit pissing on each other.
Yeah.
People, men, women, whatever, fan. It's like, come on, people.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not about you. Especially with the fans. It is not about you.
Yeah.
So quit looking like there was a horrible last night on AEW. I saw a horrible looking. I don't know if he was doing, at first I thought it was Zicky Dice, but I think it was someone doing Zicky Dice cosplay. Of all the people in wrestling you can cosplay, that's a really random ass.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
And especially because he lives in Georgia now, so I thought it was him. But Brock
Might
Lesnar
have been him.
guy, those other WWE people.
I think Zicky finally
No, it
signed with
wasn't.
actually Impact. I think he's actually on Impact
Mhm.
now.
Well, I think that Joey Ryan's stuff didn't help him either.
Yeah, that's true.
Those awful trunks. Oh,
Yeah, that's a good point.
couldn't
That's a good
burn
point.
them. Those were gross. Those were so gross.
Yeah. Well,
And they were so gross. I'm not going to I will not tell people to go look at them on Google. If you do it at your own risk. But I told you so. You shouldn't have done it.
yeah, it was
if you
gnarly.
did.
I remember being in the audience too and just being like, "Whoa!"
I was like, I want to vomit, but there's nowhere to vomit right now. I'm like, oh,
yeah. You're stuck. You're stuck in it.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda, do we have any news? Anything going on?
Well, we got a lot of news. Like, first of all, let me get to the short ones before we get to the bigger stories. So, AEW this Wednesday, Dynamite, during the tag match, Matt Jackson was injured. And the spot he was injured at was when Hobbs and Keith Lee did that vertical suplex.
Mm-hmm.
He landed on his butt really hard, but his neck snapped back. And people are saying that, like, throughout the match, he was like really careful about his bumps, and then also too he kept, holding his neck. And I noticed that about the neck, but now that I read that, I'm like, oh. So speedy recovery to you, Mr. Jackson. But I have some theories about some other things, so I'm going to save that. Parking lot, put that away.
Yeah.
One of our favorite this is another piece of news. One of our favorite things to talk about, and we know nothing about them, is contracts.
Yep.
So apparently Billy Gunn was very open about his contract, that he has 2. Not just 1, but 2. So
yeah, because he does backstage stuff, right? As a coach.
Yeah, he started out as head trainer. Yeah. And because when his sons came to AEW and they actually got signed, then Tony pushed him more as a character out there. But he still kind of coaches and mentors people. What was interesting, he says, well, I kind of get it because independent contractors. So they are independent contractors still.
Yeah.
So signing bullshit, I don't know what that's about. Unless some people
definitely
really signed. That was very Now, he said that his other contract, the one for all his backstage stuff, because he does 4 different roles, that's a separate contract. Mm-hmm. All on one check, but a separate contract. I don't know. How I feel on that is, nah, dude, don't mix the pay.
Because I was about to say that seems like a problem.
Yeah, and the wrestling part is you're an independent contractor. That does not make any sense. But we don't know all the contracts.
Yeah, because there would have to be different tax. There'd be different tax information you'd put on each of them. If you're an employee for one, and the independent contractors aren't taxed the same way at all. So if they're getting bundled up on one check, that's a big issue.
You know what?
That's why they pay their fucking.
Watch it.
That's why they got to pay for those CPOs or whatever. They all have their own personal accountants and stuff. Like, can you imagine getting one paycheck and 2 different tax things? I would absolutely pay someone to figure that out.
Because it's like, how do you take it out? Because the taxes aren't the taxes. It's being taxed on both.
But it would have to be taxed different.
Contractor,
yeah.
You pay the tax yourself. But see, now that just makes me wonder. I mean, I don't know anything about accounting. Okay, yeah, I'm Asian. I don't do math, so I don't know about accounting. But my thought process is, I think Tony Khan might be doing something funky. I don't know.
Why?
Because that doesn't sound right with like taxing and things like that.
Yeah.
And because it seems like it's not benefiting the person who's making the money, because it's really not.
Yeah.
I'm like, why should they? If you're taxing someone who's an independent contractor, if you're taxing them, you're telling the government that they work for you. So, just saying. Because I'm sure, like, the Bucks and all the EVPs had 2 contracts too. I'm just assuming this, don't know, but I'm assuming one for their EVP-ness and the other for wrestling. don't know. Very interesting because we've always talked about that. I think we talked about it on episode 1, if I'm not mistaken. We've talked about it before.
Yep.
So, yeah, we have. Okay, this one is interesting to me because, again, happy birthday, Killer Cross. It says that he and Scarlett are not going back to Impact, which is very interesting. Now, he says, respectfully, neither of us will be returning. For the record, many of our friends work there. We're very happy for the success they are finding. We've had many people in our corner for years that still work for the company. We have never been on the record to say anything derogatory or negative about any company that we've ever worked for. That's what he says. He continued to say, there are a lot of people involved, companies per se, and when you have a problem with 1 or 2 or 3 people, it's not necessarily a systemic issue. We're happy for everybody's success, and we don't live in that place anymore. We're always moving forward. We'll leave it behind us, and that's really all I have to say about it. It makes me wonder. I mean, I don't really watch Impact, but it's true. A lot of those indie guys, it's like I like to call Impact the island of misfit indie toys.
Yeah.
Because you've got the people like Rich Swann. You've got a lot of those guys that were in the E that came back, and then you have guys that will never get in the E, like a Sammy Callahan, Jake Christ, those kinds of people. And so it's a really interesting mishmash of people. So I hope that, you see, I think, and I've always thought this, that he needs a really big platform. And I really think that, obviously, we've talked about it, WWE dropped the ball. So I don't know. He needs that big platform. But the bad part of it now is that kind of, like, his kind of how he developed the character. That's like House of Black now.
Yeah.
Now, it would be cool if you kind of, if they ended up in House of Black. But I doubt it. So we'll see what happens. But that's his love. So I don't know.
Yeah. It really puts it in
Maybe
a weird
it's
spot
MLW.
because
Yeah.
maybe MLW, yeah. I wonder if we just see him do a lot more acting stuff. I know last I heard from him, he was filming a movie. You know? So I wonder if that's just what... Yeah. I wonder if him and her are just doing a lot more stuff that's a lot less wrestling and just doing like fun indie places that they want to do, and that maybe they just don't want a big contract anymore. Maybe they're into spot shows for the next little while. Huh.
Yeah, that could
be interesting.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. But whatever he ends up doing, he is one hell of a performer. I will say that.
He's awesome.
And she's really awesome too. They're both really awesome people if you've ever gotten to meet them. And I'm hoping that we will definitely see more of him, But I mean, the only other place they could go would be under Tony Khan's umbrella.
But I don't think that's even. I think if that's what they were going to do, they would have already done it. I really don't think that Tony Khan waits on stuff. He's not patient. You know what I mean? He's not waiting for the right time.
No.
Yeah. If something's available and he wants it, he gets it. And if he didn't want it, then he leaves it alone for seemingly forever. Like, I don't see him changing his mind on anybody either. You don't see anybody show up on the indies for a long period of time and suddenly get signed.
No.
You know what I mean?
That you're not going to see. Yeah, no. But also, I think with Tony, that whole Ring of Honor thing, I mean,
that could turn into something, but...
But I have to look at Jay Lethal and was like, you're the first motherfucker to jump off that ship. They let you go. No strings attached. And look where you are again. You're in Ring of Honor again.
Yep.
What a sucker. That's all I'm going to say. Tony Khan had no... It's like, is that why you signed him back then? It's because you knew you were going to buy the footage? And you knew you had to do something?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Any other news?
But, that's it, unless there's anything else. It's kind of a light week in news. It was just more of, I think, just the normal hubbub of things. I was waiting for Sean Ross Sapp to make up something again or pull something from one of our episode 1 archives,
Could be.
but I didn't see that this week. But
Well, there was one thing
give
that
it
came out
time.
was supposedly Raw is going to go to TV 14 instead of being TV PG. Raw apparently coming up is going to go TV 14. So everyone's like, PG era is over. I don't know if it means a whole lot, but I mean, I don't understand contracts.
I think it's just have the label.
Just a label.
Now that's where AEW needs to put theirs on there, because I think they say shit and fuck and bitch and all these other things more so than WWE does.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think, and even then, WWE uses the curse words from time to time, so I don't know that it changes a lot. Producers
But
trying to yell something at me.
Well, it could be extra protection in case they cross those barriers, where it's like a buffer.
Oh, just a buffer for happenstance? Maybe. I wonder if part of it is their intention. I mean, although they've been, for a long time, they haven't liked anyone blading, you know, but they haven't been completely against people getting busted open very sparingly. You know what I mean? Like when Brock busted open Randy Orton, it was seemingly on purpose. When Brock busted open Roman, it was seemingly on purpose, but it was not done with a razor blade, right? I wonder if part of it is them getting ready for this last man standing match with Brock and Roman. I wonder if someone's going to get busted open and they want to be able to replay some of those clips, some of those photos. You know, I wonder if it's just them trying to create a realm where they can do that. Not that they want people cutting themselves every single week on TV, but I wonder if it's just like, hey, this one's going to be violent. Yeah. Hey, Mox. Cody for a while there. Taekwondo says TV 14 don't really mean anything if booking doesn't improve. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like the show anyways, you're not going to like it now. And I'll be honest with you. We've talked about it a bunch. I watched Rampage and Dynamite today, and I did not like most of those shows. It's childish and stupid and petulant. So much of it is parody that it's like, this isn't enjoyable. No, they're not even trying to be serious to themselves, you know? Like, they don't want me to buy in, right? Bishop used to say, I can't buy what you're not selling. You know? Like, you have to sell it like you mean it, right? If you don't like the show now, them saying bitch or shit sometimes doesn't make you like it. And I know a lot of people think the AEW's adult because they curse more and cut themselves on TV so obviously and bleed all the time. Those two factors alone do not make it an adult show. It just means that children aren't allowed to watch. It doesn't mean it's geared towards adults. You know what I mean? If you're still saying the same dumb stuff and still behaving like children, and you think, I mean, Miz and AJ's whole storyline right now is about how small Miz's balls are. That's it's not geared towards children, but it's also not really geared towards adults. It's that fucking adolescent group that loves balls jokes. You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of these men did balls jokes. Okay.
Yes.
I had this conversation with another person with Russ, and I said, balls, you know, like sometimes you can even just say that. And people just like snicker. I can tell you one person that if you say like balls, he always is like, even when it's not anywhere near the context of what it is.
Yes. Yeah. And Taekwon says it best. It's edgy teen humor. It is. It's edgy teen humor. Beavis and Butthead is not an adult cartoon. It's just not for children. Like, there's a difference. It's for... Actually, it is for children. It's for teenagers who are towing that line of what's appropriate and inappropriate in their minds, right? It's hysterical. That's not to say that you don't ever or always grow out of or don't. Like Louis C.K. said famously, one of my favorite quotes of his was, you don't have to be smart to laugh at a fart, but you have to be stupid not to. Like, he's like, it's ridiculous. It's a silly thing, right? And I get all that. But it's just weird to me because, like Taekwon says, TV 14 doesn't mean anything if you don't like the booking. He says if the booking doesn't improve, but even that's subject, right? That's personal objectification. Yeah. Well, I was going to say objectification. That feels like a whole totally different conversation. But it's an objective concept, right? If you don't like what it is, them suddenly saying shit doesn't make you go, oh, I like this storyline now. You know what I mean? Because if that were true, you would love WWE right now because AJ and Miz are going on about his balls. So much that they made a t-shirt about Miz having big balls. Like, there's a T-shirt. You can go to their site right now. You can go to WWE shop and find more shirts that actually have curse words on it than you can on the AEW site. There's a Vince McMahon shirt that says asshole. There's a Vince McMahon shirt that says shit on it. There's a shirt there with the Miz that says I have massive balls. Like, it's not that they're not doing those edgy teen humor things. It's that you don't like the rest of the booking, and that's fine. But the TV-14 thing's not going to do the trick if you don't like it already. On the flip side, them saying bitch on AEW Dynamite all the time doesn't make me suddenly think the booking's great. It just means they're saying bitch now too. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird thing that people think that ratings is the conversation when it's not. It's the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I mean,
I like adult humor only.
I knew that was coming out. I knew it.
What do you?
See?
What'd I say?
No, it's not what you said. I knew that.
It's not what I said. I think I shocked Amanda with how long I was able to hold off on using a fart gun during that conversation.
I know. I'm like, wow, you're adult. You're not going to use it, but no. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh wow, he said Taekwon said "Despicable Me" fart gun. Maybe it is Despicable Me. I thought it was Rick and Morty or something. It says Universal Studios. He's probably right. We got it at a thrift store, dude. We didn't know what it was, but we knew it was magic when we saw it. So I appreciate you filling me in on the Despicable Me fart gun.
Wow, I called it magic.
Yes. Yeah. That's all to say that, like, I still laugh when I watch Beavis and Butthead things. You know what I mean? But I don't sit there and watch this and go, now this is great adult humor. You go, no, this is stupid. It might make me giggle, but it's dumb. And I know that. So I find it so irritating when people go, well, AEW is for adults and WWE is for children. I'm like, no, that's not what you're watching. You're comparing Beavis and Butthead to basically, I wouldn't say South Park, but you're talking about two things that are completely... Ren and Stampy. WWE is like way more family friendly. Like, it's like Shrek or Toy Story. It's like the kind of thing, it's like a Moana to a degree, where it's like you can watch it with your kids and enjoy it. It's just not excluding groups. Like, you're not going to watch Beavis and Butthead with your 6-year-old. You will watch WWE with your 6-year-old. It's just for everyone. Whereas AEW is exclusive in who they want. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Beavis and Butthead's very, very successful franchise, targeting a very specific, like Taekwon says, highbrow comedy. It's just, so I just find it so irritating when people, that's their conversation, that's their argument. This is for adults, this is for children. No. This is for families, and this is for people who want edgy teen humor. There's a difference. And there's nothing wrong with either target audience. That's the other thing.
Adult humor is kind of boring.
It's true.
Like Monty Python. Okay, that's adult humor when I think of that, and I'm like, at the time, I'm like, I don't get it.
Monty Python is exactly adult humor. Frasier, adult humor. Yeah. Like, it really is.
Seinfeld.
One's for a Seinfeld. Yeah, it's for a higher age group. People where you have to be so old to understand it. Mm-hmm. You're talking fart jokes of Frasier. You know what I mean? Like, hey, producer lady, was there ever a Frasier episode that was centered around farts? No farts? Probably why I never got that much into it.
Maybe on Cheers they did.
Cheers, maybe. Taekwon says Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. You're talking about Always Sunny in Philadelphia or Frasier. Like...
But one adult humor one that I really enjoyed. Have you seen Black Dynamite?
No.
Okay, I know it's on one of the streaming things, but
it's he was the samurai, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't the samurai. No, Black Dynamite. It's like it was a kind of like a parody of the old, the 70s black
exploitation. Oh yeah. I'm seeing it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but that's
hilarious. Because I liked when I was younger. I'm gonna get you, sucker, because that was hilarious.
That was a funny one.
And that's what I think is more adult humor. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm laughing at the guy walking with like 7-inch platforms with fish in it. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me that's not funny. I think it's funny.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
That's true. But that's what I mean. Like when I hear people and that's their what they're holding on to. WWE's for
Mm-hmm.
children and AEW's for adults. I'm just like, you're clearly not paying any attention to any of it. And that's the problem is you've created this huge this what you think needs to be this butting of heads where realistically it's also not hard to like both because like I said, there's a family friendly and a not family friendly. There's still age groups that will like both. You know what I mean? Like it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
weird. People are I don't get why they have to create when there isn't one. This crazy divide, you know.
No. No.
But no. Anyways, I digress. I
Yeah.
apologize.
I'm just shaking my head. I don't think
Yep.
there's any more news.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more news either. I thought Shakes was going to be here by now. I was buying him some time because 25 minutes ago he said he was setting up his computer, so I don't know if that means he's building it apparently. But we could get into the shows because I'm not sure what he saw or what he didn't, but I know he doesn't typically catch NXT. So we could talk some NXT real quick off the top. Let's see. What are they calling him? Veni Vidi Vici? Giovanni.
Not Giovanni. Giovanni.
It is
Yeah.
Giovanni. Giovanni Vinci against Apollo Crews.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the deal. Like, when I look at the card, because we don't talk about everyone. We had that match. We had JD McDonough coming out and facing off with Cameron Grimes and a little bit of a war of words there. Carmelo Hayes is the A-champ. That's all I got to say, Taekwon says. And JustinTime says, cheers from both of us at the End Time Wrestling Podcast. It means they probably either just finished or just getting started to record theirs. Tiffany Stratton had a cool little spot. Roderick Strong and Damon Kemp are going to be having a match, it seems. But, like, was it Caden against Tatum? These matches were good. Senga versus Duke Hudson was actually a good match.
Yeah.
I'm still finding a little bit of a loss. It does feel like a little bit of a weird collection. Like Solo Sikoa versus Von Wagner. I didn't think I was going to be into that at all, but the match was solid. You know, like.
Because it's Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, Solo's so
And
good.
I mean, I can't think of any match of his that I've seen now that I haven't liked. Yeah, I can't go back and tell you like, oh, I didn't like it, you know.
Yeah. Indy and Lash wasn't bad at all. The Tony D'Angelo tag match was actually good. And then you had the main event, which I think was the big topic, to be honest. But it was good, and it seemed solid throughout. But nothing really got over the top, goofy, and horrible to me.
No.
Nothing made me cringe, which I've said here a number of times. There's a number of NXT things that does. What do you think we're doing with Cameron Grimes?
Well,
Do you think we're getting somewhere with him?
I thought maybe he was injured. I think so. Either we're gonna get this lovable loser. I'm hoping that he's not, you know, he's not laying down for McDonough. Oh God, I hope not. And it just seems like, yeah, you know, I didn't win the North American title, didn't win, you know, the NXT championship, but I think that with him, it's like I'm in the best shape of my life, and it's like, yeah, you are. But I think he's probably gonna have to have an overhaul, like Max do 3. Look, I did it.
Yep.
Don't like it, but I did it.
I didn't want to.
You know, but I think that with Cameron Grimes, I mean, he's another one that's ready. But I was thinking that they would have, you know, Carmelo go up, you know, leave Trish behind for a little bit.
I think maybe that's where my confusion is, because I watch it and I go, this was a good match. This was, you know, some matches better than others. I think my confusion lies is that we're in a really, probably by design, we're in a spot where it's like, it feels like well over half the roster has no business being in developmental. And then you watch, like, Raw and SmackDown, and you see what they're doing with Ciampa, and you go, well, maybe developmental's not so bad right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know? And then, but you also watch, like, the women's division, and you go, it could definitely use, like, 7 or 8 more women up here to get this feeling a little more fresh. Like, you see what they're doing with Max Dupree, and you go, yeah, maybe Solo's okay for a minute where he's at. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this weird Raquel Gonzalez, Raquel Rodriguez you're watching, and you're going like, I don't know, Shotzi, Aaliyah, and you're like, these all came up with like a lot of heat behind them, and you're kind of going like, okay, it's not that they're doing bad, but they're not lighting the world on fire. And so you see some of these people in NXT now, and so much of it's been like, oh, it's really cool to see these people get their footing and learn and grow. And it's not that any of them are stagnating, but a lot of them are very developed, where you don't see what they're doing here, but maybe helping the next crew, and it just feels like there's enough lacking on the main roster that could be filled with some of these. But then you see Apollo Crews come back, and you go, yep, this gave Apollo Crews more life. So then you're like, I don't know how to shuffle the deck right. Like, apparently they don't either, which I feel, is fine. But, like, I think that's the weirdest part about watching it, is you see Roxanne and Cora, and you go, I know they just got there, but they could hang. But then you go, maybe it's best that they don't right now. Like, I don't know. Are you getting the same feeling when you're watching it?
Yeah, I do. I do get that feeling. Zoe Stark, when she comes back, it's going to be I guess I remember you.
Yeah.
Like, she was on such a roll. I mean, feels like it's almost been a year since she's been gone.
Yeah. She was on a massive roll, came in on fire, was doing crazy good stuff, and then, injured and gone forever, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Alba Fire seems like she's getting footing even though she's like super tenured, and it's weird.
I don't know. I don't think they really know. And Mandy and Toxic Attraction really should be moving on up.
That's what I feel
think
like.
that would really save the women's division up there. Just those 3 women.
I think they have the best bet. I think because of Mandy, I think they have the biggest shot at making a big splash and keeping the momentum going. Because I think Mandy would keep them from being too nervous. Because I think that's the thing that we saw with a lot of them when they first came up. They had what appeared to be those finally made it to the big show jitters. And you go, shit. You know? Maybe that's what makes NXT 2.0 so good, is it gives them a big show lights and glitters feeling that hopefully they don't have that when they go up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even then, I will say this. I just had a thought about Cameron Grimes, which would be interesting. Now he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah.
If he becomes one of those models.
I think Cameron Grimes and the Maximum Male models would be great. Call him Cameroon.
That could be pretty good. I'm liking that. I'm kind of liking that idea. What would have made the Tiffany Stratton no promo better is if the nail tech was Asian and it was Wendy somehow. That would have been amazing. But
somehow Wendy. So shitty.
That would have been great.
That would not have gone over well. That would never have gone over well.
Maybe kind of Asian, but then again, I was like, oh wow, Jim Ross isn't commentating Forbidden Door. Wow, I don't have to hear Oriental 25 times and get triggered. And then all of a sudden, he's here.
Here he comes.
He can't pronounce anybody's name.
Taekwon says, never go full Ricochet is my warning for NXT call-ups. Yeah, and then he start and stop. It's just tough, because, I feel like right when 2.0 was first happening, it felt like exciting to watch people who you're like, oh, in a year, 2 years, 5 years. Like, you're almost kind of like placing your bets on how long it's going to take these people to click. At this point, it just feels like such a, I don't know anymore. It just all feels like a stutter. You know, as much as I think the show is good and the matches are fantastic most of the time, there's also a lot of it where it's getting hard to be invested in them because you used to be able to call when someone's getting called up. You'd be like, oh, they're going to finally lose the title here and they're going to show up in the main roster. It's going to be great. You're going to see this great momentum. Now you're like, oh, they're going to lose the title and they're going to get called up. And then they don't. They lose the title and they stay around for 6 or 7 months. And then they let their contracts lapse. and then they sign like a month later, and then they show up. And then they go away. Like it's like it just feels like that no one quite has their finger on what's going on, and I think it comes across with our ability at this point to invest too much in too many. So I feel like that I invest more with the ones who just show up, like the Tiffany's, Roxanne's, Cora's. Like it's easy to get super invested in them solo, but then like they get too good too fast, and you go, well, now what? Now what am I waiting for? You know?
Yeah. Well, another thing too. I had this random thought. Cameron Grimes again. One of the things I thought before McDonough came out was kind of the way his promo was going. It could have been a really interesting program with him and Joe Gacy.
Yeah.
I would not be mad about that at all. And then somehow we would know who these Druid dudes are, which I really still think, and I'm going to die on this hill, it's Grizzled Young Vets. It has to be.
I think it's got to be, yeah.
Yeah, there's just no way. They've been beyond radio silence because they would have been on, been on an indie or, over in Germany or something. They would have, or Warrior Wrestling. Let's go there. But yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
But that would have been another great one because, he's down on his luck and, getting manipulated by Gacy. That would have been a great program.
Joe Gacy's another one that's cooled off. Braun Breaker is getting a little status quo. You know what I mean? He's coming out and doing what he does every week, and it's the same thing every week, and it's always good, but you also go, you're on the top.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Like, I want to see you do this again now on a bigger stage, Joe Gacy's cooled off. He's done, like, a couple promos in the last 3 weeks with those Druids, but we're not seeing anything happen with any of it. We saw one match with those Druids, like, what's going on? He's one of the most compelling characters they have right now, and he's not doing anything week to week. And you're like, it's just weird. Taekwon's got his theory in there. He goes, I think NXT is in a weird spot where it's developmental yet also a third brand, so it's kind of having to fill both those roles. And it's probably true, is they're probably trying to find their footing in what they're going to be, because Black and Gold was very much the anti-developmental, and 2.0 really opened up with the all-developmental. And he's probably right in saying that they can't neglect that they are on national TV, though, and they have to be somewhere in the middle. So that's probably where we're kind of feeling uncomfortable, too, is,
Yeah. But then you have guys that were there at the end of that Black and Gold era that, they're put on a pedestal, or was put on a pedestal over at AEW. And it's barely made a spark.
Yeah.
Red Dragon, that's a joke now. I mean, honestly, I haven't seen those two wrestle in a while.
Bobby Fish got injured again.
And
then Kyle O'Reilly got injured right after that.
Oh.
Like, they're both injured again.
I don't think Bobby was Fish. I don't know. I gotta look. There's so many injuries at AEW, I can't keep track of who's injured and who's not. But I mean, look at who's left. Roddy Strong. Do you think that he's doing great with the Diamond Mine? No, it's just all about the Creed brothers. You don't need Roddy.
He's in a weird spot. Well, like I said, a lot of the matches I did like. I thought it was a surprisingly good and easy to watch NXT. Just because the last couple of weeks I've been kind of watching, kind of going like, don't know what we're doing here. But ton of potential with Tatum Paxley. Great match with Caden Carter. I'm liking the inclusion with Ivy Nile in that. But ultimately, let's go to the main event, really. We got Mandy Rose. So, I mean, it all started with Roxanne getting knocked out in the parking lot. Cora Jade there comforting her, and then they interview person after person. Who do you think it is? Was it you? Who was it? Was it you? You got Vic Joseph on commentary saying it was Toxic Attraction, those bitches. You have Wade Barrett sitting there saying there's no way it could have been Toxic Attraction. They're too toxic and attractive. And then ultimately we get to Mandy Rose in the ring saying Roxanne can't make it, so forget it. We're going to drop it. I'm going to go home. Cora Jade comes out and said, no, I'll take her spot. Roxanne comes out, limping, taped up, and says, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it." And you see Cora try to talk her out of it, and then say, "Fine, go ahead." We get this match, not a particularly long match, but I thought it was really good. A lot of chicanery, as it were. But ultimately, we get towards the end. Roxanne's getting back in the ring after Cora Jade's trying to force her in, hits Roxanne in the back of the head with the tag team titles, cost Roxanne the match. Roxanne laid out. Cora rolls in, grabs her skateboard, which snaps in half on the first swing before it even touches her. It's just so unfortunate. And what made it even worse is you could hear the wood crack. So you know that they did their best to keep it together, but it was it's not going to take a lot to break. And she swung so hard that the wind resistance just ripped it in half. And you're like, oof. But then she did a good job with the recovery, I thought, by grabbing one half of it and just whipping the shit out of Roxanne with it while she could to kind of get the focus away from that. Cora Jade stands tall. Roxanne doesn't get the title. Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction walk away. There was a lot happening here. I liked the match. I don't think that the finish was bad, but I definitely feel like Cora and Roxanne have been rushed as a storyline.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that I thought that the tag team itself had a lot more legs than 1 week. You know?
You think?
Yeah.
Oh.
What did you think of all of this?
How come I get a... Well, first of all, I'm going to say, how come I get a feeling that I think the Toxic Attraction is going to get the belts back?
Now I'm starting to think they're going to go back that way. I thought we were getting to a point Toxic Attraction could leave, and now I'm starting to think that you're right. They might be anchoring it back down on them.
Because honestly, when I saw, okay, this is that match they're having, they're going to put 2 belts on Roxanne. So, boom, Toxic Attraction goes up as a unit. But obviously not happening. So I liked the match. It was very interesting. One thing I will say about Roxanne Perez, and this is what I found really amazing, is she tells a very good story with a lot of the way she sells the story.
Yes.
And I'm just for someone as young as her to do that, it's incredible. Amazing. I mean, I can't wait to see what she does, even 5 years down the line from now, So that was a total 180 with Cora Jade. I thought,
yeah.
Didn't expect it. Didn't expect that tag team to last just a week. I thought it was going to be for a little bit of a long haul.
Which might be the big swerve on it. Real quick, JustinTime in the chat even says it becomes pretty obvious it was Cora just from the start of the show, being that she was the only one in the parking lot with Roxanne and the officials, which I felt like really came out to a hindsight thing. I feel like in hindsight it all was very, very obvious. There's right when you see it, you go, it's a little weird, but the idea being that Roxanne's alone in the parking lot and Cora shows up to find her friend there, and then all the little steps along the way, Cora butting her nose into this, that, and the next, being the one to come out saying she wants her title shot. You start looking back at all of it, and you're like, that slimy bitch, it was her all along. And it all becomes a lot of foreshadowing.
Sneaky bitch.
Yeah. Also, I did...
Ginger. No, I'm just kidding.
I did... I sent JustinTime a link to jump in if he wants to, just so you know he might pop in. I don't know. Okay. It's the open door policy of the IWC bar. But
all you need is a regular drink or an alcoholic bevy or something. Yeah. Cigar.
Cigars help. Yeah.
White chocolate cranberry cookies.
Yep. But yeah, I felt maybe their big swerve is the fact that the team did just get together. That's why you do the breakdown. I also don't know that I agree with the logic of Cora. If Roxanne's able to get the title off of Mandy and she's injured and doesn't see your turn coming, then you can take advantage if Roxanne wins and you can get the title off Roxanne, unless you just flat out think that you're not as good as Roxanne but think that you're better than Mandy. But you know what I mean? And even that doesn't quite work.
Mm-hmm. No, that doesn't work, but it's I don't know, because it feels almost like, are you in cahoots with Toxic Attraction?
Right, I was wondering that too.
And then the feeling I get now when I thought of that was, well, if you're part of toxic attraction, that'd be very interesting because you've got someone who's, you know, like it was very evil how she looked. It was very evil. It was cool. It was very evil. Sounds like Danhausen. Very nice but evil. That, you know, I was kind of blown away with that. So I think that that might be something that comes into it. But if it does, you heard it here first, people.
I like Taekwon actually he shut us all down right now. He just one sentence crushed all of our problems. He goes, heels don't be thinking sometimes. I'm still wondering why Corbin didn't just wait for Cena to beat Jinder before cashing in. And you're just like, shut up. I mean, it's one of those simplest answers often the right? He's like, why would they do this? Why would they do this? And he goes, oh, because heels are just dumb sometimes. And you just go, fuck, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but women heels, though, they're always manipulative and whatnot.
Yes.
And that's why I like toxic attraction. Part of it is because they're not hiding what a female heel is supposed to be, conniving, bitchy, whatever. And I like that because it's upfront. Like,
yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's not something hidden. Cora Jade is now hidden, but who knows where that goes. I hope they do some good with it, because if not, then it was like, why the fuck did you even do that?
Yeah, I mean, and also at the end of the day, when you really boil it down, we're going to get Cora Jade versus Roxanne and a few variations thereof. That's going to be good, and it's going to be cool. Yeah. But at the same time, who knows? JustinTime coming through to have a drink with us.
What is up, guys?
I don't know if your brother's allowed in your room, but...
How are you?
I know, it's been a while.
Great. It's been like, I don't know, what, 5 hours or like 15 hours or something like that?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, we had him on yesterday, too. He was just hanging out, so he said, if I could come on through, man. It's a dive bar, right? That's what we do.
Impromptu visits are the best.
Dude, it's always the best. Whenever Stackhouse flies through, I'll send him a link, and when he wants to pop on, he can pop on, you know?
Sweet.
So, yeah.
I'm waiting for the day you send Thunder Rosa one.
Yeah. Get Thunder Rosa, you got a link coming through, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I think we got a 70% chance her husband pops on before she does.
Yeah, but even if he pops on too, it's like it's totally
he's great.
Fine.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, Mr. Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Sir, Senior Thunder.
Senior Thunder. Watch, now that's going to be a new thing for him. He's like, I'm not really Senior Thunder. That has to be a shirt. I don't know why I think like the chili pepper with a little like hat and I don't know.
Well, because you're thinking of Jeff Dunham.
His face done.
Jose Jalapeno.
Yeah. Yeah. Or something, a burrito, I don't know, whatever. A taco, because, you know.
Justin. That's true. That's true. On a steak. Justin. Cora turning on Roxanne. I think there's a lot of positives to this, but to me it doesn't sit quite right.
No.
Like, we are going to get Roxanne and Cora. That's going to be good.
Yes.
It does feel like we're getting gold back on Toxic Attraction. It's not the worst thing, but I feel like that it's been time to move them along.
Yes. Easily.
Because they're so good. Go ahead.
They jumped the gun on this too soon. Honestly, would have made more sense giving the title to Roxanne and having her have a run with it, and then Cora being jealous about it. Because her just being jealous about it now just makes no sense.
She's literally jealous that Roxanne won a tournament. You know what I mean?
But it's
that's what it is.
Cora's all like, I haven't beaten Toxic Attraction. But then she's with her best friend and she finally beats Toxic Attraction. So the whole thing just feels so off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not thought out well.
And then that prop falling into pieces. So funny.
I'll give it to her for improvising with it, though. That's for sure.
Yes.
But
she covered it up the best way you could. And when I first watched the clip, I didn't have the sound on, and I was like, oof, that's bad. But then when I watched it with the sound on, and you could hear the wood crack, I was all like, oh, she put all her force into it, and that's why. She was in it. And I was like, how cool. Like, she could have probably broke a real skateboard on her back. I felt doubly bad.
Disappointed, and I heard the thing snap, and I look up quick, and I'm like, did she just swing that thing? And it broke? And my brother goes, yeah, and it broke before it hit her. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, guys. Props departments, epic failures. Still not the same as the sparkler incident.
Yeah. How much does it make it look awkward now, though, that she did that, but she had that whole interaction with Darby?
It's funny.
His at least is a real skateboard.
Yeah.
Wait, did she ride in on it? No, she didn't. She was just carrying it.
She hasn't been riding in on it lately at all anymore. She just carries it out now.
Yeah. Yeah. But
maybe she broke her skateboard when she hit Cora in the parking lot. Who knows?
That's true. It weakened up from the first blow. That's what it was. I hope they say that next week. You're lucky I hit you so hard in the parking lot with that skateboarder. It would have hit you again in the ring.
That'd be great.
Weakened it up on your stupid skull.
Just play into it.
And if that happens,
essentially.
And if that happens, where's our royalty check?
Yeah, you heard it here first.
As much as I'm not into it right now, like, boy, oh boy, just play into it for some kind of laughter.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. Something about it doesn't sit right, and I think it feels super rushed. But if I pull back a little bit, a Cora Jade Roxanne program is going to be amazing. End of story. Like, we won't look back on it in a year and be all like, how terrible did it go this way? We're all just going to be like, it would have been nice to see a longer run on it, is all, I think. But a lot of positives to it. I just think that I was like, really? Already? And as tag champions? Yeah, I hope they do a thing where they don't get along, but they keep retaining the tag titles. Like, not Rock and Sock style where they just kind of don't like each other, or Steve Austin Dude Love where they don't like each other but they're willing to work together in the ring. Like, these are like actual enemies who are tied together by tag titles, but neither one doesn't want to hold gold. You know what I mean? Sort of like how the bar was for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see them holding it. I think they're going to end up stripping them of the titles, which is just... This whole thing just disappoints me so much. It just... They jumped the gun on the turn. They fucked it up already, and it's just now you got to find some way to recover from it, and I don't know how they're going to do it, really.
I'll tell you, Cora and Roxanne's feels more important than Mandy and whoever's next. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that they didn't let the gold get into the middle of it, I think is a miss.
There's like the 20-woman battle royal they have next week.
Oh my god. What were you saying, Amanda?
I think the way to do it, really, honestly, is doing the angle that she's actually now in cahoots with Toxic Attraction. So, if they wrestle them again, I can totally see, like, Cora just, laying down, because then it's like, oh, Roxanne doesn't have a belt, and then she won't have a belt, but then somehow I see in a weird way that maybe she does get a belt. Maybe she gets Mandy's belt. Who knows? I don't know.
Did they announce a battle royal for number one contender?
For Mandy, yeah, next week.
Man, they're doing some Tony Khan booking there, huh?
Although it's pretty obvious who's winning that, too.
Was it Nikita?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I could see Nikita being a good world champ. But I don't
like
feel it.
Nikita,
I don't.
really do.
Hmm.
I
What was
like
that?
her because I don't see her like everybody else does. Everybody else just sees her for two favorite assets. But it's like,
Yeah.
I think she's great. I think she's really good.
Mhm.
I can see her
Yeah.
being a champion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doesn't feel like it's too soon for her too, though.
Yeah, and I still
Yeah.
think that Roxanne feels more important than Nikita, even if she was champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why if it ended up being Nikita being the one taking out Roxanne, it would have made sense because she took my place. She took my position. She
That's
took
true.
what I was supposed to have. Like
Yeah.
That's true.
it's just weird. Like I said, the whole situation it's foobarred right now.
It's a little weird.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
unfortunate
I could
bit
buy
is
that,
all
though.
the
I
names
buy
we've been mentioning are all killing it on all the things that they're doing. So it sucks when you see it and it clearly comes down to like you said, a kind of a foobar, muddy kind of booking because all these women are doing fantastic work.
Yeah.
And yet somehow it doesn't feel like it's clicking and you feel like that they're raising their stocks on everything they do and somehow it's still not clicking for some other reason. And I'm not one to constantly say not the fault, no fault of the talent, all creative. Like that's a constant thing here in podcasts. No fault of the talent. It's all creative on this one. I feel like you say that too much. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain point where you go, or the talent didn't get it over. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes the blame does fall on the talent. I think people are too afraid to say it because they don't want to be jerks. And I agree with that. You shouldn't be a jerk. And there's definitely a way to say it. But this is definitely one of those facts.
AEW.
Yeah, right? This is definitely one of those times where you look at it and you go, this person's great. This person's phenomenal. This person's doing great mic work. This person's improving every time. This person feels super important. These characters feel super dynamic. And you go, so why isn't it meshing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, Amanda, anything else on that or NXT?
No, I'm really curious to kind of see, what's going to become of Cameron Grimes.
Yeah.
Because after this, it's like, where do you go? Yeah, you go to the moon, or not.
The scary thing is, I think he's going to the 24/7 freaking scene.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad.
Yeah,
What's up?
it's totally sad because he's been like doing some of the best wrestling I've seen him do in like years.
They are charging
And
people to watch the
Just-
I think him and JD McDonough is going to be outstanding. I can't wait to watch that match.
It's not nil.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It's just the tryout.
But again, I
don't
think
know.
the best angle to really go with Cameron
They haven't
Grimes
had a
right now
crowd
would be the Joe Gacy way,
So that's new.
because then you get Joe Gacy back involved and not kind of out in the ether of what the hell are you doing? You're just doing a promo with two creepy dudes in robes. Yeah.
Grizzled.
It's got to be them, right,
Mm-mm.
Justin?
It's the only ones that make sense. I could not see it. Like, I thought at first, because of their tag team move they were doing, I thought it was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch because that's their move. So I thought it was them.
No.
But I'm like, but that would mean they'd have to come back, which
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. So I was like, but grizzled young veterans just make sense. They left to go find themselves. Now here you go. They're with Joe Gacy. It's a weird pairing to me because I just don't see them and Joe Gacy and go, yeah, that makes a really good faction. Like right there, the guy who walks around going, you should listen to my words. And two guys that are just like, we're just going to beat the snot out of you because sure.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, the grizzled young veterans cut promo after promo after promo that meant nothing more and more the more they said it. The consistent, soon-to-be thing and then constantly losing the matches, not quite getting there for like 2 years. So it really wouldn't be the biggest stretch of the imagination that they could go through some sort of existential crisis of who are we even? We always thought we were there and never made it. And then you could have a Joe Gacy being like, oh, let me help you find your best self,
I'll help you find
I think
yourself.
it would work. It would work better in that aspect if MSK were still together, because MSK kind of came and fucked their world. So
Yeah.
shout out Leslie.
I thought at one point NXT was getting Trey, because like when they did the whole Wesley losing his mind about missing a phone call, I was like, the hell is he flipping out and throwing his phone for? I'm like, wait a minute, does that mean something? Like, because that means it's got to be something big. Because why in the world would he be pissed off about just missing this random phone call? So I thought we were bringing in Trey. I thought Trey, like, his contract ran up in Impact and they scooped him up. I was like, but poor Wesley, like, my God, just want more Wesley, damn it. Come on, NXT.
I
Yeah,
know.
and he's
I
been
know.
killing it.
It's like it's like don't waste Wesley. Come on now.
Hey, if he's one of those people that it just doesn't feel like they need to stay in NXT, put him up there and put him with Ricochet.
He's gonna go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Give me that tag
Or
team.
if not, just let him go. Yeah, let him go.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
Anything? So let's go AEW. I watched Rampage, and I got nothing nice to say about it. So if you guys,
Neither do I.
I just don't watch it. I just can't. It's like at this point, if you want, they want it to feel like a third hour of Dynamite, but it half the time comes off as like a dark elevation show. So at this point, just I don't know. I still say cut Rampage. Cut Rampage. Make Dynamite 3 hours. Put the ROH show on the Friday slot, and there you go.
Yeah.
yeah. You could even just drop Rampage and make it ROH and not even explain. You don't have to go 3 hours Dynamite. There's nothing that happens on Rampage that not only is anyone paying attention to, but that has quality of it out that feels superior to YouTube. Like just put Rampage on YouTube and put ROH and Rampage a spot. Be done.
Yeah.
You don't have to add an extra hour of Dynamite. I definitely don't want.
I don't get why they have dark and dark elevation, two shows that are the same thing. Just put them together as one, call it Rampage, and just put it on YouTube.
Yeah. I also don't want a third hour of Dynamite if it's a Rampage. If you tack Rampage onto the end of Dynamite and say it's the third hour, I'd still say cut that hour. Like they're not putting the effort into Rampage.
You just don't want to hear. You don't want to hear Excalibur for 3 hours unless it's a bull block.
I cannot handle that.
I'd just rather them put the ROH show on TV, not on a streaming service only thing. Put it on freaking TV.
Yeah, I could see people being into that. So as we pivot into Dynamite, I have a question with you guys about Jade Cargill, because she had a thing here. I thought she had a thing on Dynamite, but to be honest, I don't remember.
She did.
Yeah,
Cut the shit, Tony. He came very early.
It's her favorite friggin' saying every time she's with him. My God.
That's her only saying. Cut the shit, Tony.
Am I the only one who just thinks it's just so stupid?
It's just so she can say a curse word on TV, so everyone can go, "Oh, look, she said a curse word."
She's edgy.
It doesn't feel like anything but that every time. She would cut the shit, Tony, and Tony just goes, and my guest, Jade Cargill, cut the shit. And you're like, are you trying desperately to say shit? And that you think it feels like so hard, it feels like fetch. Like it's the stupidest fucking catchphrase in the whole TV show. And I think Jade Cargill's too big a personality to be weighing her down with stupid shit. You know what I mean? She's your fucking champion. She's 1,000% charisma. With someone who's all charisma and still figuring it out in the ring, and it shows every time she's in the ring because you don't know how to protect her in the ring. So we're seeing her do poorly but get better as she goes. Just don't weigh her down on the mic with stupid fucking lines like that. You know what I mean? It pulls me out of what little I have there to go off of. Talking shit to... Go ahead.
The bad thing with Jade, she's not that good, but you get like she's got the baddies with her, and like they're not really that good, really either.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not. If they were better, it would take the focus, like the criticism off Jade. But they're not doing that. They're pretty much just getting the criticism on them, but it still stays on Jade at the same time because it doesn't take it away from them. And that's what sucks. It's just like it doesn't work.
I find every interview segment with Jade and the baddies to be absolutely unwatchable. Yeah. And it sours whatever match I'm going to get with her before I get there. And the thing is the matches are already struggling. I think she's doing better, and I think she's a massive personality, and I don't think that they should strip her of the title or anything, because I think she makes a good champion. I think there's a lot to that character. I think that the baddies and the backstage segments are spoiling what little she has to lean on to be credible. It's taking away her credibility.
This one wasn't any better because now it just doesn't make any sense. The one week she's like, oh, I don't want Layla Gray to help us. But then literally the week before, she's like, oh, I'm going to have her help us. I'll give her a chance. And then this week she's like, why are you even here? Why are you helping me?
Yeah.
Make up your mind. Is she with you or not? Like, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then I just check out. I go, the second she says cut the shit, Tony, I fucking tune out. I'm like, fucking forget it. Talking shit to Stokely for no fucking reason. Like,
it's like she's trying to get it over, like, with the DMD thing, but it's like,
it's fucking fetch, dude.
Is cut the shit really gonna get over? No.
Yeah, it's fucking fetch, dude. It's trying to make fetch happen, and it's weird.
It isn't going to happen.
No.
Oh, that's some of my favorite parts of Mean Girls. But anyways, adult humor.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, so.
But here's my thing. Why does it feel like this is Tony Khan's way of saying, hey, I have black friends. We have diversity and inclusion. Something to think about.
I mean, you ain't wrong there. You're not wrong there.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it to, whatever, cause ripple, but I'm like, that's what it feels like.
Like, that's what it feels like. I don't ever saying
and
it.
That's what
I don't want to be that guy and say it half the time, but it's like, it clearly feels that way.
Yeah. And now with Stokely there, it totally does.
Yeah.
It feels a lot like that. Or even how all of the Latin stars were put in the same segment over and over again. It definitely feels like, okay, now we need a spot for this, that, and the other. And it's just like, come on.
Not going there with Swerve, Keith Lee, Hobbs, and Starks.
Yeah.
It's another one.
Justin, aren't you a big Orange Cassidy fan?
Yes.
What did you think of opening the show with Cassidy and Wardlow?
I looked forward to the match.
Okay.
To the beginning of it wasn't really my cup of tea, though. Like, I didn't expect to get a full, half of the match pretty much just be this goofy, comedy segment before it starts turning into a match. Like, I was like, oh, come on.
Took a long time to get past comedy. This felt like watching a cartoon. It just felt like Scooby-Doo.
Yes, in the beginning of the whole thing, it just felt so goofy. Like,
have you seen the
Chuck Taylor reaching under the ring, grabbing a chainsaw? Second off, who the hell left the chainsaw under the ring? Like,
who needs a chainsaw to set up a? I don't. So the other thing, so have you guys seen any of the Scooby-Doo WWE cartoons where they have an adventure?
Sadly, yes.
That's exactly the same feeling I got watching this. And I was watching this completely in my mind being like, I don't get how people say this is the one for adults. This is parody, cartoonish stuff.
I literally said the same thing.
You say what?
I literally go, the company people say is primarily about wrestling. You sure as hell are putting on a freaking entertaining, style match here. And I'm like, it's so BS here in this whole, we're all about wrestling. Yeah, but you're putting on sports entertainment. And yes, I'm the guy who will say the same thing, that they're the same fucking thing. Pro wrestling and sports entertainment's the same thing.
Yeah. It's just branding.
But they were clearly putting on entertainment right there in the beginning.
I was getting less and less into it as it went, man. I kept going like, does Wardlow need this as his first real defense? Like, literally a cartoon? Like, you might as well have had Orange Cassidy running in place while he's being held up by the nape of his neck and going, ah! Like, it was so fucking cartoony. I couldn't believe it. That I was all like, I don't get it.
Where the fuck was Miro? Why didn't Miro stand up to this challenge? Why is it got to be the damn slacker guy?
Because Miro's probably in a church threatening God. That's been his whole shtick lately.
Probably.
And telling him about his
hot wife.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably banging his hot wife, looking straight up into the sky, pointing at God, being like, "You see this? Do you see this?"
Banging hot wife. Yep.
I am you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's your adult humor. Okay, that's for adults.
Yes, that one's for adults.
Mm-hmm.
Fart blaster.
Nice.
See, cut the shit.
Yeah, cut the shit.
Now, yeah. Cut the shit, Marsh. That's going to be my thing to you when you do that.
You know what I was surprised I really liked on this one? Jericho's promo.
Oh God, no! I can't watch him after like hearing the "Let's Feed My Ego" and everyone sing.
Yes,
Judas.
no, all the way going into it, sour taste in my mouth. It was like watching a fart walk to the ring. I was like, this is not good. But by the end of it, when it finally finished, I went, that was a pretty solid piece of business there. That was a pretty solid little story he told there. Like, I felt like, as much as I think the match will be shit, I felt like that was a really nice way to do that. Yeah. And as much as I felt like half of what he's saying was pretty bullshitty, it also, I felt like it was delivered really well. Like, this was one of those ones where I was like, oh shit, it's been a long time since I've heard a Jericho promo that I thought, nice. Most of the time I go like, fucking stop. No one's buying it. Like, this was I like this one.
That was like me and Cody Rhodes promos.
Yeah.
Like, oh, stop.
You guys were getting out of fucking hand there for a while.
Yeah.
It's one of those promos just made you want Eddie to beat the shit out of him even more.
Yes, but everything surrounding the stipulation of the match lets you know it's going to be some horse shit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And again,
it makes you disappointed you won't just get a match. Sorry, go ahead, Amanda. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Eddie, you're going to make Eddie look like a bitch again. You know what? And if it's one more time, Eddie, fucking just pack it up. You don't need that kind of shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like he's a dog and they only neutered one ball.
Let's hope this is the night. Let's hope that's the night where Jericho takes a fire stun.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm. Let him sit on sprinklers.
I didn't realize this was Fyter Fest until the graphics came up, and I went, "Oh, that's cool."
I didn't either. And why is Fyter Fest 4 shows?
It's a week. It's 2 weeks, not 2 shows.
It's 2 weeks of Fyre Fest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Not 2 nights like they used to advertise. It's 2 weeks now.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's just funny to me at this point that they rename all of their Dynamites. I think it's funny that NXT does it as often as they do, but I think Dynamite does it more even.
Yeah, because we all know Con has no creativity.
I wonder if they have actually more named Dynamites than actual Dynamites. You know what I mean? Just more themes.
Oof, that's a good question, actually.
Well, there's Fyter Fest, Revolution, All Out, Double or Nothing,
Beach Party.
I love how he's like, oh, we're only gonna have a few pay-per-views a year. You've got pay-per-views like on Dynamite.
Yeah, but we're gonna
now 2 weeks.
We're gonna copyright a shitload of pay-per-view names though and use them for our weeklies. Well, I was in on the Jericho promo. I wasn't feeling it at first, and it hooked me at a certain point, and I thought, okay, that was pretty good. It was because I think it was a lot less Jericho than we get. It was a lot less cartoonish than we normally get. But outside of that, what kind of stuff were you guys into, Justin?
I mean, it was for Jericho,
For just in general, the show. You don't talk about Jericho necessarily. I'm just letting you know the thing that I liked in this, because when I look at the whole card, I have a lot.
I enjoyed Mox's match, minus the fucking fact that he had to bleed again.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the only thing that pulled me out.
Why does every Mox match have to have blood? Enough. It's not a fucking blood feud.
Yeah, that was the only thing that pulled me out of it.
You're literally facing Takeshita.
Yeah.
Where he's just, if he wins, it's pretty much AEW's championship contenders matches. Like, why is this got to be, Mox has got to bleed, Takeshita's got to bleed, like, Mox has got to show bleeding, like, it's not needed this much.
And
yeah.
And Takeshita's so fucking good.
Like,
He's good, dude.
I'm sad I didn't get to see him in Speedball because whatever. But it did score. That was at West Coast Pro.
I am jealous.
I think you can go back. You can go back and watch it for free. I wasn't there, so I was upset. But I told my friend, because the day before he was like, he had a limited run of limited edition shirts, and I have one. Hold on, let me go get it. Let me put it on here. I'll go grab it because I know exactly where it is.
I know he had the match with Daniel Garcia too, which was probably great.
He's doing awesome. Do you think he stays out here for a while, or do you think he does an American run and goes to New Japan?
I think he's just going for the U.S. stuff right now. I don't really know. Like, I would love to see him.
Garcia?
I know he's DDT. I know he was in DDT, but like, I don't know. Could I see him in New Japan? Probably. I think he'd do fantastic in New Japan.
Yeah.
Well, he's PWG champ right now, so he'll probably have a long reign with that.
He beat Garcia?
Yeah.
What? Holy shit, Takeshita beat Garcia? I don't think he did. I thought he lost to Garcia.
I don't know.
I think he lost to
Well,
Garcia.
did he? Yeah, no, Garcia's the champ.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Garcia beat Takeshita, though.
Yeah, he did. So see? Such a cute... Oh, damn it, Young Bucks. But it's a great little sumo-looking wrestler guy.
I like that shirt.
Says, no pain, no gain. And it's very... See, now, if there was a pro wrestling t-shirt, because let me tell you, the quality of this shirt's very nice.
Nice.
Soft style. Like, throw that out there. But what's cool about it is it's not your overly, like, you wouldn't know it's a wrestling shirt, which is part of the draw for me. Osaka, like from Osaka. Like, who's from Osaka? This little, like, fat looking sumo guy? Yeah. And then you have his name, really just very simple. Because I like it when shirts are, even though, yes, it's black and I have 10 million black shirts, it's nice to have something that's kind of cool that doesn't look like your typical wrestling shirt.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep. Like our shirts that we have.
That's true. WrestlingOnTheRocks.com/shop. You can get all your Wrestling on the Rock shirts.
We've got some cool ones.
I was fine. I was just happy we got to see Takeshita. I knew the Mox match was predictable, but I knew this was going to have a hell of a match, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And also, National Weather Service, go fuck yourself for putting goddamn stupid warnings on my screen in the middle of that match. It's
the worst time for that.
Oh, man.
I was so pissed. Right near the end, like, reaching the end of the match, they had to put the fucking severe storm warning thing on there, and I'm like, you motherfuckers. I was ready to fight somebody. I was enjoying that.
Yeah, I agree. Though I thought it was a really good match that was spoiled by the blood and not enhanced by it in that case. But the match was good.
Yeah. Can I see a Mox match without blood, please?
Yep.
Please.
It's taking away from matches. It's not adding to it at a certain point.
Yeah. And I feel like Tony's like, I'll give you an extra $1,000 if you cut yourself.
Right.
That's even
I like blood.
That's just not necessary. I don't even care.
No.
How many times does it need to fucking bleed? Nothing. It doesn't make anything better. It just starts to look ridiculous after a while.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
when
it
you
also
accidentally make someone bleed.
it's different. But at the same time, so I know a lot of people have been critical of people who criticize too much blood and be like, Ric Flair bled almost every night of his career. But Ric Flair was also in the main event every night of his career. You know what I mean? Against big names, for the world title, in blood feuds. Like, him and Ricky Steamboat, we saw 3 times, probably happened 200. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how the territories were. You were on top for the world title all over the country against the biggest star in that area, and everything was a blood feud. This is not. This is like a second match on the card kind of a deal against people who've never had any reason to be upset. This is not a blood feud. There's no title. There's nothing at hand. It was just a match for the sake of Moxley asking for the match. And then, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, that's what I think the difference is when people are trying to knock people who say they bleed too much. The importance was there all the time before. It's not in a lot of these ways that they're booking it. They're not making it look or seem important. We talked about Jericho a minute ago. Oh, did you have something you wanted to come over and say?
It's like the rest of their product. It's nothing feels genuine. Everything feels like without any intention.
Yeah. If you don't build towards it, it's like, yeah, you can't buy what you're not selling. And so, so we talked about Jericho's promo earlier. I wanted to talk about Eddie Kingston for a second because that was a huge thing online for a while. After Kingston's match on Rampage, people were sharing pictures of Kingston and mocking his physique. And, you know, it's easy to get the criticism from a very surface level screenshot, right? To be like, oh, look at this guy. He doesn't look like he's in shape. And from a screenshot, you could say that, yeah. And I did like the amount of people who were they were just starting to name a bunch of, like, historically big guys in wrestling, right? And they talked about, like, the Stan Hansens. And someone even showed Junkyard Dog, which I thought was sort of unfair to Junkyard Dog because he was in phenomenal shape for so much of his career. He only, towards the end of his career, started losing shape, and he was not taken as seriously once he did. So I felt it was a little unfair to negate the majority of the time he was on top. But regardless, there's a lot of badasses who have had a lot of extra pounds in the gut. And it made me think about Kingston in a number of ways, like the Stan Hansen type. Chris Hero.
Oh
no.
God, right?
Yeah,
Holy
no,
hell.
you clearly don't need to look like an Adonis to be very good or be tough. You know what I mean? There is something that makes you take notice of somebody who is in shape that is not otherwise. But at the same time, you can take notice of somebody who goes in there looking like they're out of shape and being a badass. It's what makes a lot of the UFC fights interesting. You see someone who's completely cut against a dude who just looks like he just walked off a farm. And you go, well, that guy's clearly not training, and then he wins, and you go, this is incredible. This guy's actually a badass. I think
The thing about it, everybody dug in on Eddie Kingston. It's like, does Eddie Kingston really give a shit? No. Guy's fucking gonna go in there and he's gonna beat people's asses, and everyone's gonna sit back and fucking love it, hands down.
Yeah. I think the only thing I wish that was different about Kingston, because I think his body type is perfect for his character. I think his actual strikes he's doing look weak. I think he needs to lay it in. He's got some of the weakest chops, forearms, and punches in the company right now. And he's an actual badass. I would never want to take a punch from him. You know what I mean? And so I think it's the only thing where someone sees that and then they'll put a clip of him doing all those chops, those really bad chops he did on Suzuki, and you go, yeah.
Those chops always look bad, though, sadly.
Yeah, so just don't do them. Like, he's an actual badass that I don't want to punch me. Don't make your punches look...
doing it, it's the only way it looks good. Like, Eddie doing it, and other people that do it, it just looks weak.
It just doesn't look good for somebody that you know can make everything look good and sound good. You know what I mean? Like, so if he's not able to execute that, then that's my only, like, complaint about the whole thing is, like, I think he looks like the type of dude you don't want to get into a fight with if you bump into him on the street. He probably punches in a way that you don't want to take a punch from. But then you see him in an AEW ring with his shirt off and slapping a guy in a way that looks like that you would happily take that all day, no problem. And you go, okay, well, that's the disconnect. That's the problem. Stan Hansen never let you think for a second he wasn't going to knock your eyeball out of your head. You know what I mean? Like, the dudes who were big like that in those eras also fucking stuck it to you. And, I mean, like you said, Vader, because obviously Vader lost his eyeball, but also Bret Hart described wrestling Vader like trying to fight a dump truck full of vomit.
That's a hell of a comparison. Damn.
Look, Bret Hart is a man of words. Because he was saying that the dude was immobile and smelly, is what he was trying to say. And the dude hit you like you had to take it, right? All I'm saying is that there could be something in the middle for Kingston. I want Kingston to be the type of dude like a Sheamus. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why can't he be the Sheamus of AEW, where people go like, look, you know you're in a fight. You've been in a match when you've been in a match with Sheamus. I want to hear people say that about Kingston. You know what I mean? Because then all of this criticism will go away. Because I also think that Kingston has every ability to do that and be that, because I think he is that person. But he's not that performer. I think there's the disconnect. Was it a minute?
Should have happened after him selling those sprinklers.
That's actually exactly how they should have solved that. Barbed wire. That's true. That's probably exactly how they should have actually saved it. Instead of that stupid promo where he goes, I had anxiety. Which I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying, but it didn't come off. It didn't come off well. They actually should have just had him out there slapping the shit out of people.
Yeah. Now, one thing, when I had brought up Chris Hero and bigger dude, Chris Hero, no matter what size he is, that fucking elbow of his. Yeah, knockout artist. Yeah, there's a reason why he's like that.
All his strikes are
it's just, yeah, it's brought all that power right in there. And, you know, with Eddie, I think it's kind of almost like, you know, I'm getting a steady check. You know, I know I'm a bitch for fucking Tony Khan. And it's really sad to feel that, to feel that, because that's how I feel about Eddie. Every time it just hurts me to even watch now. I'm like, oh, great. What are they going to do to Eddie now? So that's how I feel about, you know, going into this next match. Like, great. How's it going to look like a bitch this time? And that's not what you want from, you know, your fan base. And I also want to say that these fucking fans and, you know, have goddamn nerve. They're probably dudes and chicks who don't wash their wrestling shirts, don't wear deodorant to a show, don't bathe. And it's like, and you're going to talk shit about Eddie Kingston being fat? Okay, all right. No. Fat shaming is no bueno. Shout out to you know who you are. Did that to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just it, too. Is it like, when you see the screenshot, you go, yeah, that's a bad screenshot. And then when I was trying to think about, like, the overall actual potential conversation here was, what would make that conversation go away? Well, maybe if when he slapped a dude, it didn't look like he was hitting someone with a pancake. You know what I mean? Like, maybe when he slapped a dude, you thought, oh, shit, he might break his teeth. Yeah. Maybe if sparklers didn't make him fall asleep. You know?
I
think that's where a lot of it comes from.
I challenge any of these people who said that Eddie was out of shape, fat, say it to his fucking face.
Yeah. You might get stabbed.
It's not going to be pretty.
Eddie Kingston look like he gives a shit because he doesn't. You can talk shit about him all you want. He doesn't give a damn, so.
It's true, too.
Well,
you know? That's what I mean. Like,
their hero.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, these fans, their hero, Phil, yeah, you go up, big talker. If I were to go up to him and tell him how it really is, he'd fucking be whining and bitching.
Yeah,
Ocean Spray does that too. But I do it. I know. I mean, seriously. Yeah, these guys who think that they're tough, and it's like, no, you're gonna go cry like a bitch in the back. Whereas, like, you have Eddie, complete opposite. And there's other guys too that you wouldn't think that would be, you know.
Yeah.
But
I would absolutely welcome a fight with CM Punk or Adam Cole before Eddie Kingston or Joey Janela. If someone's like,
get a fight with Joey Janela.
That's what I'm saying. if someone was all like, "I'll give you $20 to pick a fight with
Gage.
Punk or Adam Cole," I'd be like, "Yeah, maybe. I might do that for $20." If someone's like, "I'll give you $20 to pick a fight with Eddie Kingston or Joey Janela," I'd be like, "Dude, that is not gonna cover my dental bill after this. Like, what are you talking about?" But I think I might be able to win against Punk.
Like the Briscoes, I'll do that.
Yes.
I'll fight Punk for free. I'll fight Punk for free.
That's what I mean. It's like a safe bet with Punk.
Bring it.
Book
Bring
it,
it, and I'll
Tony.
wear a fucking Colt Cabana shirt, too.
I want it now.
Book it.
I'm pretty sure that the Wrestling Buddies pillow fighters were actually based off CM Punk. The dude's soft as fuck.
Come on, Tony. Book
Got a
it.
big mouth.
Make it happen. Give me what I want, damn it.
People actually.
Give me what I want.
Also want an ocean spray ball.
Yeah.
That's another one that people want me to see.
Lunar's coming through the chat. Cheers to Lunar.
Hey, Lunar.
Let me see.
I actually do owe Ocean Spray an ass beating because he did shove me.
That's true. What do you guys think of Claudio versus
Bullet.
Jake Hager?
For a company that's not trying to be like WWE,
Yeah, this was for the
Certainly
Intercontinental
have a
title.
WWE kind of match.
I mean,
I'll be honest. At first, I was like, I don't know. Maybe this could be something. And after about a minute or two, I was kind of getting into it. And then it went for like 2 commercial breaks, and I was like, I was done with this match a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this match went on way too long. Like
I was waiting for some We the People.
It bought me in, and then wore me thin. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those ones where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. Jake Hager's really not that good. Claudio's incredible. I don't know. And we've seen it a dozen times in WWE, you know?
Yeah.
And then, a couple minutes in, I was like, you know what? I think I'm into this. I think this is a good match. And then 20 minutes later, I was like, what are we doing here? There's got to be more show.
It was just, Hager just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. And every time, I know he's a heel and all that shit, but every time he brings up his MMA background, it's like the most petty, stupid shit. Like, you had 2 fucking fights, and one you technically didn't lose because you kicked someone in the balls and they called it a no contest instead of disqualify you. Like, you do not have this storied MMA career. You barely won the first one, and you kicked balls to get out of the second one. You're not a fucking MMA hero. You're not fucking Bobby Lashley. Like,
We the people.
you know.
Call bullshit.
Yep. All
I was
bullshit.
waiting for that. And like Dutch Mantel to come out from the woodwork.
Oh, well, the crowd chanted it. It was funny to me.
Yeah, they were chanting it. And I was just like,
Because those are all, they're still all, they're fans of both. You know? You bitch about one or the other, but then at the end of the day, you're pushing the WWE agenda on all of this, and it's like,
Yeah,
I did think it was.
what makes sense. They had Jericho say when Hager came out there and they chanted "We the People." Jericho says it's a stupid gimmick created by stupid people, but now it's fine that we chant "We the People." Like what?
Yep. Yeah.
So
they
stupid.
probably give Tony a hard on.
I also thought it was way super soon to put them together. But maybe it was just a comfort thing. Maybe Claudio's coming in and calling his shots. Maybe he wanted to work with his old friends. Like, I could see that. No problem. But it seemed like storyline-wise, that was really fucking quick to just be like, and now these guys. I was like, okay, I thought we would build towards that and make it seem like a thing. Make it seem like, will they, won't they? I want a little Ross and Rachel on my Claudio Jake Hager, and I didn't get that.
They literally said it's the battle of 2 former best friends, and I'm like, but they haven't been together in forever. So what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, and that's one of those things where I said that Tony has no patience. He has the 2 of them signed, and he goes, ooh, 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 and he just has to do it right away. Yeah. Yeah, like a child who just opened up a new toy. Easy pickings. Let's see. There was a bunch of other stuff, but I think the only other thing that I thought was going to be worth talking about, realistically, it was nice to see Serena Deeb on Rampage and Dynamite. I don't think the matches were particularly great, but it was nice to see her. I think her and Mercedes is an interesting. I think that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
But then we have the.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Really good. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yes, that match will be good. The matches we're getting leading up to it have not been.
Yes.
But
Anna
it's
Jay
always
just
good to see
needs
Serena
more
D.
work.
Yeah, she needs a ton of work. Dude, and the Anna Jay Tay Conti
Yeah.
thing backstage, too, was also fucking trash. Like, they are bad at talking.
I literally
Really
said,
can't Conti. I'm like,
Tay walks in.
What'd you say, Justin?
When Tay walks in and she starts talking to her, I go, the first thing I said is, does anybody understand a single fucking thing that Ty Conti just I literally said that because I didn't know what the hell she said. She literally just walked in and she was like, and I'm like, what did she just say?
I understood what she said, but she said it like a high schooler doing their first table read for a play and thinking they're like the best. It was like the most childish form of acting.
yeah.
I was all like,
She
"Oh,
was
we're back to
like-
community theater. Fantastic."
Yeah, she was like
Theater.
someone who tried to be Regina George.
Yes. Yep.
Really tried, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't grasp the concept of Regina George.
Yeah, she saw Mean Girls and said, "I could be that." And then Tony said, "Yeah, I don't see why not." And have you ever tried it? No, but I could do that. And then doesn't
Well,
do it
bitch,
very
guess
well.
what? I've seen Heathers and I could do all that shit very well.
I believe that. You would definitely blow up a school, I think.
Dude,
Yeah.
She's talking about a movie called Heathers where they do that. That wasn't out of nowhere.
No, I actually can recite that movie
Yeah.
verbatim. That
Yeah.
freaked actually. Who was it? Who freaked out? Oh, Chuck Taylor was freaked out about that.
I can see that.
Dude,
He
that's
seems
my movie.
skittish. He does seem
Dude,
skittish.
I can have the whole conversation. You know, the one at the party. You stupid fuck. You goddamn bitch. You were nothing before you. You're playing parties with Betty.
Was there anything besides the tag match else that you guys want to talk about? Or you just want to talk about the tag match?
Real quick,
Yeah.
Thunderstorm is kind of cute. I'm not
They make a good
gonna lie. They make a great team. What I would really like is if he does do some tag belts, have those two have some belts. It would be even better if they both had a belt and had the tag belts, because then that's really going to make your women's division. You need to fucking step up.
like the pairing, still don't understand it though. Why?
Yes.
They just fight, and then they're best friends. Like, all right,
Well,
do your thing.
it's they had a mutual respect for each other.
No.
Because you don't see that with the women on that roster. Because obviously, when you see DMD, she's already, oh la la la, I'm away. I'm back. La la la. I'm not cared.
The minute she walked
The
in,
only
I
person
go,
who cares about your old man.
all it lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
I
least
think
Jamie Hayter was with her.
so. I think Thunderstorm is a good tag team. I think there's no point to have any tag teams the way that they've got the division going. There's literally no tag titles for them to even be a tag team for. I don't think the company needs tag titles for women necessarily because they have such a thin roster that are doing anything anyhow. But they've got enough titles anyways. Might as well throw in some more. But I think having official tag teams for the women there makes no sense right now. And my only issue was I just was a little... it felt like fans were saying it as a joke online, and then they just went with it. And I just, like Justin said, I just wish there was a little bit more going into why they're together and not just because they saw a tweet, thought it was cute, and could make a shirt. Which I don't disagree with that concept. Sell your shirts, dude. And it's a good team. You guys are two of the best on the whole fucking roster, to be honest, by my account.
It's a good point on their names, too. So.
Yeah. Great use of the name thing, but it really feels like tweet turn t-shirt turn tag team. And you go, okay. That's a little... I wish there was more reason, but I'm not going to hate it because I do like seeing them together.
And I did like that they had a regular hand and they had the skull. That's a
Yeah, well-designed shirt for sure.
Tony Storm should paint her face the other side. So like when Thunder does one side, she does the other.
The other, oh, that'd be cool.
Well, maybe not the other side is the other half of the sugar skull, but the other side of the face having like a big lightning bolt down it. because then it's really like thunderstorm, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And if that happens, they owe you money.
Anything else besides the tag?
Shit.
Anything else besides the tags that you guys wanted to hit on before we just talk tags?
I thought there was something I had.
Christian.
Okay, I'm sorry. Going back to Mean Girls and Fetch, Luchasaurus is Fetch. Stop trying to make Fetch happen. It's not gonna happen. I'm sick of it. I know they're giving him an edge by making him dark, but still, that doesn't cover the fact that you're not a very good wrestler.
That's true.
I like,
and I hope,
It's the what? Justin?
It's the Dragon Sword from Power Rangers.
Yeah.
It's literally what it is. Just grab the thing. That's what I'm saying. They should just add that at the beginning of this theme, and just actually have Christian play it, just to have him come out and do it.
That'd be good. That makes sense. Yeah, I like this version of Luchasaurus more than the previous version, but it doesn't mean I care about any of it. Why does Christian have a 10 count on his Tron?
He's always had that. Even in Impact, he had that.
Why?
It's his countdown backwards. I don't know why. I don't get it either. It's always been that, though, for some reason. As soon as he got to Impact, that was his first, or to TNA, that was his first thing. His Tron was the counting down backwards, and then it counts forward, and then throws his name at the Tron. And I was just like, okay.
Huh. So AEW does it because it's an Impact reference.
Pretty much.
That's funny.
Tony's not original in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Copyright-free Evanescence over there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand what the 10 is, but whatever it is.
Oh, and the other thing I just want to mention is I thought, because we haven't seen Varsity Blondes in quite a while, I thought they were on the chopping block, but they wrestled this week on something. I can't remember. That's how great it was.
No, they're still there to job out.
But yeah,
they wrestle on
I was shocked. Yeah, they did Dark.
They wrestled on Dark and won probably. They lost here.
No, they lost. They lost.
Aw, boo.
But I know I like Varsity Blondes, though. I really do. And I really like how they're developing Julia Hart. I'm kind of liking that.
That's cool.
I haven't seen any of it, so I can't give any kind of say to it yet.
Oh yeah, no, she cut a promo. Was it on this episode? Yeah, because they were building toward Darby and Brody King. Yeah, which it's gonna be brutal.
I can't wait for that match. I'm excited for that.
It's gonna be awesome because I've seen it in a version of that before. And it was like, fuck. I thought that Darby, he's so damn skinny. It was like, God, he's going to break him like a toothpick. All Brody has to do is just go, and yeah.
It looked like he killed him in the Battle Royal. He was literally limp. I was like, that was the greatest,
yeah, but that was always, that for me was like, that's the greatest ending to a Battle Royal, the way he did that. I think it, is probably... Damn, that's telling you. Yeah.
The one thing that was weird though was how come now we're playing into Griff Garrison looking like Jungle Boy?
Yeah, that was
because Jungle Boy's not on.
Everyone said that for years.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, look, check it out. They look the same.
Yeah. And the way Christian's like, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. You could put your finger on it immediately. Like, shut up. We all put our finger on it right away. If there's one thing that's been properly fingered upon, it's been Griff Garrison looking like Jungle Boy. It's got all the fingering we need. There's no way you couldn't thumb that one down.
Luchasaurus could put his invisible tail on, for God's sake.
Yeah. I want him to come back with that 90s pompadour like his father had on 90210. I would geek out so hard.
That should be good. You should come back. You guys want to talk the main event?
By the way, still looking. Yeah, but by the way, still looking for a Jungle Boy so I can put with the Dylan McKay.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of AEW figures this weekend, and there was no Hobbs, Ricky, or Jungle Boy.
Or
Ton of
Thunder.
FTR.
That's another one I haven't seen.
I've been seeing Dustin Rhodes around. Haven't seen the Thunder
I've
Rosa
seen
one.
Matt Hardy a lot.
I saw a bunch of the new
I
Brody
never
Lee
see
one,
the
which
Bucks.
was cool.
Oh.
Brody Lee with the
Last
TNT
time,
title
did I
was
see
nice.
any of that? Yeah, no, I don't think I saw any Dark Order. Oh no, I saw Anna Jay.
I've seen Anna Tay, and I've seen I think
I was
Angel.
thinking Tay Conti too.
I think
Got it.
Angel, like, was it V Angel or something like that? I think he's got a figure. I think I saw.
Oh,
Alan Angels.
Alan Angels have
Yeah,
one?
I think he's got one. I
They
think I saw.
made him. I didn't think they did. I thought they only made Silver and Reynolds and Uno and Stu
Right.
and Anna and then Brody. There's only six.
Cheers to his
So, yeah,
impact.
no, Alan Angels did it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I will say this: I saw Alan Angels wrestle. I was mighty impressed. I'm like, Tony, you fucked up. You should let this guy do his shit because he was actually very, very good.
Yeah, cheers to his Impact debut. We're over there, so.
Did he
Even
make
Mike
it?
Bailey, probably amazing.
Did he show up over there?
Yeah.
Has he got a
Against
mask on?
Bailey. No, he's unmasked now.
Okay. Did he have a match against Mike Bailey, or is he just teasing they're going to?
No, he had a match against Mike Bailey.
That's sick. That's sick.
It
And
sounds
now,
awesome.
Alan lives. Yeah, it does. And now Alan lives out here because his girlfriend lives out here, so he moved out to the area. So I'm excited. We'll see a lot more of
Awesome.
him around here.
Cool. You guys want to talk main event?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Fantastic. Unfreaking fantastic. So happy right now. And God, I love Ricky and Powerhouse Hobbs. My God.
We called it on episode 1. Ricky was in that match to take a pin, and he did.
He got pounced to shit, though.
Yeah.
My God.
The only thing I had a hard time with in the match, apart from the explicit lack of rules as it devolves into nothing every time, to follow through all the way until the Ricky Starks was not even a legal man and was tagged in by the other not legal man. So you had 2 steps away from legal men being involved. But why would Rick Knox know anything like who's legal in the ring? He's only the ref. Was the Young Bucks were hard for me to watch. Their shit looked so phony and goofy and parody-like. It was whenever they weren't in the match that the match was really picking up for me. I feel like every time the Bucks got in there, they would do something so silly or goofy that I was like, or so soft that I was like, you guys are like playing around and there's like people trying to wrestle here, man. Like, get out of the way.
They're the Street Profits of AEW.
Street Profits actually hit people. The Young Bucks won't even super kick somebody, right? They did this one against Swerve where he puts his leg through the rope and Swerve had to like run into his foot and then like push himself back because it was just fucking bad. I was like, guys, let the wrestlers wrestle, please. Get out of the way.
The double they threw on Keith Lee was like whiffed.
Yep. Yeah, they were just... I thought it was super evident how bad they are in this match because of how fantastic everyone else was around them. You know what I mean?
And these aren't guys that normally tag.
Yes, they
They don't.
only tag.
I mean, the only one I could say that did tag a lot before. Well, Ricky did, but him and Solo really only did it for like what?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 2 years, maybe.
That's true.
But Hobbs,
Hobbs.
Powerhouse Hobbs, he tagged quite a bit.
Yeah.
Before. But
I really wanted...
I
I wanted Hobbs and Starks to win it. Because the other thing I thought was funny... Like, I think it's awesome for Swerve and Keith Lee. But it is funny to me. Because I was in the room at Double or Nothing StarCast, back when the whole company came together, when the Young Bucks said, we're going to be a real tag team company. We're not going to do the kind of bullshit that WWE does, like just strap a couple of singles guys together and put the titles on them, because that's stupid and we would never do that. It undermines your whole tag division. And voila, here we are, two singles guys thrown together and made champions within a month. I just think it's funny because it's explicitly been stated they would never do that, and they did it. They did it with 2 amazing talent, and I'm happy for them. But I just think it's funny because it's one more thing that the Young Bucks were promising that just did not come true. But that said, I'm glad it's these two dudes.
I want to get, and I want to get this part out of the way before we get like really into it.
Go ahead.
I, for one, am very shocked that the Bucks didn't retain.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Is because I think I mentioned it on episode 1 that I think I was hoping they were going to lead up to FTR again, and FTR gets all the belts and goes into New Japan World Tag League with all these fucking belts, you know? That's what I was hoping to kind of, that would come out of it. I definitely do think that FTR is probably going to go to Japan and be in the Global Tag League. I have a feeling
they're going to do it.
If they don't, then
this is how they do it. Now the Young Bucks don't have to lose to FTR.
But
the Young Bucks got out of the match against FTR is what it is, and they put it on these two dudes who've been having some tensions, so FTR can take the title off of Swerve and Lee and not the Young Bucks. That's exactly what this is.
Well, with the Young Bucks, going back to what you said about, we're going to be a tag team thing. When you said that, that's the thought that immediately came into my mind is Bucks know that right now they've got some great fucking tag teams. It's time to step aside, really develop that, and go from there. And I think that, I hope that's what's happening. I really do, because nothing, and I've said it before, nothing has gone what these people said. AEW was going to be about. Nothing. It's Tony the God Khan show. And, you know, whatever. It's like, I think of Truman. That's fucking the dude is fucking the director guy. That's fucking Tony Khan. You know, I mean.
But this would have been, because see, if you had had Young Bucks versus FTR, it would have been the rubber match. It would have been the third match. They both have 1-1. But because FTR is on top of the world and doing all this stuff, Bucks would have to lose 2 in a row, and they're not going to do that. This was the Bucks' way of getting the titles off of them so they could get them onto FTR without the Young Bucks having to lose a match to do it. They pinned Ricky, because that's why they put him in there, and they didn't want it a one-on-one tag match, because otherwise it would have just been straight up them. They needed a third team in there to take the pin so Young Bucks could leave the titles behind and still never lose the titles. And definitely not lose to FTR a second time. So FTR is going to take the titles off Swerve and Lee and go to Japan with all the titles, and Young Bucks are going to be like, how could this have happened? There's no way to know.
I'm just happy it was something different, honestly. I was fine with it. Yeah, it's just, again, everyone was all FTR Young Bucks again, but honestly, I'm all for FTR. I'm all for FTR and Swerve and that match.
Yep, this is way better.
Be nuts. I only had one other gripe about the tag match itself, was the whole ref bump thing.
Yeah.
Why was there a ref bump in a triple threat?
So Young Bucks could do it. Well,
it's a triple threat. There's no DQ. At that point, they wiped the ref out for no reason. It was so weird. Like, it didn't.
Was it no DQ? I didn't get the impression there was no DQ.
Well, it's triple threat.
They never have DQ.
I mean, they don't have DQ anyways.
But they never have DQ.
But still, so what was the point of the ref bump then? Nothing.
Yeah. Just to give Rick Knox a break so he could take a quick nap. Probably gets tired partway through.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that got me.
Maybe, I mean, guy. Yeah.
I was like screaming at the TV. Like, I'm like, what was the point of the ref bump? What is the point of the ref bump? What is the fucking point of the ref bump? Like,
I get weirded out because I've
the title, and I'm like, hit him with the fucking title, Ricky. I'm like, stop hesitating, just hit him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even care. Who cares if the ref sees you? It's no DQ. It's triple threat. Take him out. Win the damn titles. I'm like, fucking screaming at the TV, like.
But tag triple threats are done poorly by every company. It's the one thing I think WWE does. Well, not the one thing, but it's one of the major ones of the rules that I think is terrible. Is when you have a triple tag team match and you only have 2 men in the ring at a time. It should be done like a triple threat, like you said. But if it's also no DQ, then no one has to tag in and out. And if no one has to tag in and out, then no one ever becomes legal in the ring. And then it doesn't matter who you pin when.
Yeah, that's like lucha rules.
Yeah, it becomes lucha style where it's like it becomes impossible to know who can win. So you have to have rules, and tags have to matter. So that's why they put 2 in the ring at a time. So that way you don't say like, well, if you don't need a tag, why is not everybody just in there beating the shit out of everybody the whole time? It's trying to give some sort of semblance of control. Because otherwise, 2 dudes go in there, and you never have to tag anybody. How do you determine who wins?
It just came off weird to me because I'm like, it's triple threat. There's no DQ there. Why is there a ref bump? It just didn't feel necessary.
Also, Rick Knox has never DQ'd somebody in his life. You wouldn't know how he even do it. So you can cheat in front of him. It's fine.
Also, Rick Knox always refereeing Young Buck matches still.
Yeah. I love last week when JR, one of the women's matches had a tag, and JR said, that tag was done hand to hand right there in front of the ref. Not even Rick Knox can mix that one up.
Oh, he was hitting sauce.
Yeah.
Sauce.
I was all like, fuck yeah, JR. My dude.
Oh, God, I love
Speaking of JR, apparently Tony's doing this thing where he's only going to be calling 1 hour of Rampage, Dynamite, because I don't know. Is it because after the second hour he's been drinking so much with whatever's in his thing that he's just saying shit like that? But that's the best JR though.
That's my favorite JR. But I mean, he does maintain and has multiple times on his show that he doesn't actually drink while he's at the show. I just don't know.
But some of the things he says is like, ugh.
It's easy to believe if he does. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to call the man a liar either.
Tipsy JR at the commentary table needs to be a thing.
Oh, it's gotta be great. I mean, matter of fact, if there's one person in the world I'd like to get drunk with and watch wrestling and just hear what he's got to say about it, it's probably JR. He's probably the dude to get drunk and watch wrestling with.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put on whatever match you want. Not even ones he's seen or called or anything. Just like, I like this match, or I think this match is terrible, therefore I want to watch it with drunk JR. Like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
No cameras.
Let's watch Nick
just
Gage.
booze. Yeah.
Nick Gage and David Arquette.
Yeah. Hear how many times he just goes, what the fuck? But there was an amazing moment here where Ricky Starks looks like he thinks he's about to win, and he starts to almost cry. I think it's knocked off the
jumping
thing.
up and down.
Because you thought he fooled you, huh?
Fucking asshole.
So good.
It was like,
so good.
when I saw that, I was like, 1, 2. But actually, when I look back on it, it almost was 3, and it was almost a botch. Almost. But I was crying already, and I had to watch it later, so I made sure I did not see any spoilers and nobody spoiled it for me. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, they did it! And then, I'm like, fucking Rick Knox. What the fuck? They're playing with my emotions.
Ricky's spear had me convinced. I was like, so freaking, when he hit that spear, I went, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Yeah.
I jumped out of my seat, and then he fucking got the 2, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So I was all pops with Starks. I wanted them so bad.
Yeah. I will say, I'm going to say this. One thing, I'm going to put some comments about it before I go into Hobbs and Stark time here. I thought the Young Bucks were like the Young Bucks of old, which a little bit, even though, yes, there was a little bit of comedy in there, but they were more of the Young Bucks of old, in some of the style. And for me, it kind of hit off a little because you're with people that aren't normally tag teams. So it's not supposed to be 100% polished, because they all had something that, wasn't on, you know what I mean? Except for probably Starks and Swerve, probably, I would say. Those two, because those two were on. I mean, that spot where Swerve did, he did that moonsault off of Keith Lee's chest. Holy shit, I love that move.
I do too. I don't know how Keith just goes, brace myself, like...
Boom, it's like a trampoline. It's like he's here, boom, and then he's gone. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some things. I don't even think I've seen luchadors do that kind of shit. I was just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I was very, very floored. I don't know, Keith Lee, I don't know. He seemed again like the weak link. If you can say that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of felt like, okay, at first it was like he seemed sloppy. And I'm like, what's Keith Lee doing? I'm like, okay. You know, obviously the biggest
bumps,
dude
though.
in there.
There was one kick he took to the outside and landed on like the ring apron and a real hard thud and rolled over. And I remember watching this being like, God damn, that looks vicious the way he took that. Maybe it was.
Well, yeah. His size doesn't help with the sound. I mean, that's going to sound really brutal, but no. But I will say, did you not like me? I was like, oh my God. When it was Hobbs and Keith Lee in the ring, and their big guy kind of,
it was cool.
Mono.
It was pretty cool.
I was like, that was.
I didn't realize. I was going back and forth on, does this make Hobbs look bigger or smaller than I thought? You know what I mean? Like, because Keith Lee's a mountain of a man, but so is Hobbs. And Hobbs was like slightly smaller, but almost wider in the shoulders. That it was kind of like, it was just, I mean, you couldn't help but just look at both of them back and forth like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of man in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, honestly,
better reinforce that ring. You know.
Mm-hmm. No, Hobbs is a lot bigger now. So
he's big.
And cut a lot more so than he was when he was out here. So definitely, I mean, even Ricky, like when they did that promo last week was my favorite with the taking the shoes off and you know.
Oh yeah.
That I'm like, are you on the sauce? Because he looked really yoked, and I'm like, oh, never.
No, I mean, no one's going to check him over there. They have no wellness policy, so they're allowed to do whatever they want.
Reminded me
I
of
don't think he would.
That week when he was just like, he sounded like Ric Flair. He was acting like Ric Flair. I was like, all right, Ricky, pull out your inner nature boy. Let's go.
Whoa. Do not tell someone to pull out their nature boy. Let's take it easy.
Hey, well, you know, adult humor.
That's true. It is adult.
But
remember,
this is the man that did the spot where people would pull his pants down and we'd see Butte.
Yeah, that was an old Ric Flair spot too.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So quit telling people that, oh, that's Baby Rock.
Yeah, he's Baby Nate. Well, you can't have Baby Nate because you have Little Nate. We're in a tough spot with Ricky Starks. How can we mock him and not hurt other people's feelings? I'm kidding.
There's a lot of people's feelings to get hurt. You know, but there's a lot of people's feelings.
I love absolute Ricky Starks.
I just want to say, oh, I know. I want to say that spot, I hate him. You fucking had me fooled. I feel so foolish for jumping up and down and crying and thinking this was it.
She said that before, yeah.
Ricky, that's like I say. No, but and then Hobbs, you know, basically suplexing everybody on top of people.
That was
like,
funny.
Holy God.
It was funny because I thought it was going somewhere, and then it kind of didn't. And I was like, oh, that was just an indie-rific spot. But how badass did it look? You know what I mean?
It looked
badass.
First, like,
it was super fucking badass. And I was like, oh my god, where are we going? And all of a sudden he just stood there afterwards and just stood there. And I was like, not even trying to win? What happened?
Like, you're not going to take the smallest dude and try to sit on him and, you know,
you're not. You just and then Keith Lee's just there after taking literally spine busters of every human you have in the ring, and you're not even trying for him. It was just one of those moments of like basking in the moment of the cool indie spot we did and not trying to win. That just it didn't like turn me off at all. It was just one of those things where I was kind of like, oh, wait, what? Like, you don't want to win?
Yeah.
Like you had a good shot there. But he might not have been legal, and it doesn't matter if you're legal, it turns out. I don't know.
Well, I didn't even know who was after a while, I'm like, who is legal? And then at this one point, I'm like, how the hell did Ricky become legal all of a sudden?
Yeah.
And then someone else too. I was like, how is Keith Lee legal in this one part? And then I'm like, okay, I don't think the Bucks are legal at all.
I could tell pretty early on that Rick Knox lost track of who was supposed to be in there and just counted every pin when he saw it. Which I think is what the Young Bucks tell him. Hey, when you see someone go for a pin, just count. The rest of it, leave up to us. And he goes, okay. Okay, bosses. Yep. Bucket. That's what he sounds like to me.
I thought Brandon Cutler was going to get in there somehow.
No.
And get squashed by Lee and Cobb. That would have been hilarious.
It's actually a good call that he didn't. Like, that is kind of a failed spot they could have done easy. Do you think, by any chance, because we've talked about it a little earlier that we all thought Bucks were going to win it just because we thought we were going Bucks FTR, but I think that you're right in that that this is their way of getting out of not doing that match. They don't want to do that match. But do you think there was a possibility, or that people are at least going to believe that there's a possibility, that the only reason the Bucks lost is because Nick got injured during the match and changed it while in the ring?
It was Matt.
Matt, whatever. What's the difference between the Jacksons? One's got less hair than the other, but neither one of them knows.
One's got blonde hair, one's got black hair. That's the difference now.
One hair is super thinning, the other one looks bloated. I get it.
One wears a headband, the other one doesn't normally.
They're both equally annoying, and they both sound equally stupid when they talk. So I don't need to know what else. So one of them gets hurt.
The only promos they did.
Yeah. That's my Jackson impression. That's what he sounds like. He's cutting promos. Do you think there's any possibility they change the finish during the match because of the injury?
No.
I would have thought yes prior to you bringing up the fact that this takes away the FTR match. The second you brought that up, I went, oh, that's why they lost. To put the titles on someone who could job out to FTR later.
And you know what, sadly, who it's going to be?
Swerve.
Because I think Hobbs and Starks are going to get the belts. They're going to take it away from just dysfunctional Keith and Swerve. Because, did you notice? Okay, I thought the shoe spot was stupid. Keith Lee beating people with a shoe. I'm like, come on, dude. You're a big dude. Why do you have to beat someone with a shoe?
Yeah, it's probably softer with a shoe than your fist. Dude, you're 600 pounds.
I know. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And then, with Swerve and having the belt, and he was going to use it and then didn't. Yeah. That was something interesting there. So I think that would be, I would feel like there's going to be maybe a Keith Lee heel turn on Swerve.
I think the turn happens in the FTR match. I don't think the Hobbs and Starks are going to get the tag titles. Not until after FTR has already held them. I think they should, but I also don't think that they're going to be the transitional champs. I think Swerve and Keith Lee are the transitional champs to get it on FTR. I wouldn't be completely thrown for a loop if FTR ultimately drops the titles, or at least the Ring of Honor ones, to Hobbs and Starks at some point. But I think the transitional champs here are Swerve and Lee.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like ROH is a consolation prize.
Yes, for sure. So's the FTW titles consolation prize.
Yeah, I know.
And they deserve more. They deserve more, for sure.
Oh, the two of them deserve a lot more than what they get. Don't start me on that one. I could be here for 10 hours.
True.
But what I really am thinking is, and I gave Tony Khan going into this, I didn't look at Twitter. No spoilers. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. You need to do the right thing. I'm not saying that.
Yes and no.
Putting it on, but like having the Bucks lose, that's the right thing right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Take it off because it's stale. But what also, this whole episode of Dynamite, which we can get back to this topic, is I saw last night, a lot of Tony backlash. Because they're like, how dare you not give Hobbs and Starks the belt? They clearly were the two the tag team of the three that were on point. And then a lot of people were trying to spin it of, well, Tony and his favorites.
Right.
But, and then there was the other theory of, well, they came from WWE and that's Tony's bag right now is anything WWE.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think I think if we want to be hopeful, and if I want to say something nice about the possibility of thoughtful booking, which has never been his case, but what if it were this time? If you want to have the tag titles on a team for a very short period of time, and they're never going to hold them again because they're going to break up that team, do you want that to be Hobbs and Starks right now, or Swerve and Lee? Swerve need to break up. So you put the title on them, have the breakup happen so FTR gets their titles and move on, and that way you don't shortchange Starks and Hobbs with a shitty transitional title reign for no reason other than to keep the Bucks from having the FTR match. At least this is one that'll actually serve a story, and hopefully when Hobbs and Starks get their own tag titles, it's for an actual time frame and not to serve someone else. This tag title reign, I have a feeling, is to serve someone else. It has nothing to do with the two who won it.
I mean, it seems like Starks always gets the short end of the stick.
Yes. Yes, he does. Every time.
From Sting, in that one, he's always the one.
Yes.
It's never Hobbs. It's always
Yes.
Starks. And it kind of irritates me because I'm like, I know, like, JR, had such a big heart on nothing for Willie Hobbs. Willie. That's all I ever heard, every other word. And I was like, let's play drinking game. Every time JR says Willie, take a shot. I'd been on the floor in a ball because probably went through a bottle. But, I mean, they've gotten some short ends of the stick.
They always do,
and
for sure.
It's not cool. They always do. And it's like, I'm like, there's gonna come a point where people are like, and this was what people were saying, give people what they want, god damn it. Like, they were saying he's just so talented. Why? People don't understand that. And also people are also now, on the Starks train now. So
yeah, Ricky's
American State episode 1.
Ricky Starks is definitely in the territory where either he's going to have a massive payoff that goes huge, or they're going to completely miss the boat on him. He's at that point now where we're either waiting too long and he's forgotten about, or it's built up enough fan favor that when he gets the big win, the whole crowd blows like a Daniel Bryan, but not quite Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're right teetering on that edge where it's all like, look, you're going to have to pull the trigger on something for him. And you've already fucked him out of the TNT title. You fucked him out of the tag titles. You can't give him the world title. What weird fictional title are you going to make up next? Because, I mean, the FTW title is such a consolation prize that I think people want more for him, and they're either going to get to the point where you failed him as a booker, or we've built up enough fan favor that this moment's going to be big. And he's going to have to pivot, because I don't think it's because he's got the secondary plan in place. Justin, what do you think about all this?
I mean, I hope Ricky and even Powerhouse Hobbs actually get something here, because I think we're at the point where people want them to have championships at this point.
Yeah.
They're getting over a lot, and it's going to be a complete letdown if AEW misses the boat on them.
Yeah.
Like, take advantage of it while you have it. But it's like, again, it definitely was a smart idea to not, as much as we wanted them to win the titles, it's kind of glad that they didn't, because if there's going to be transitional champs, we want to see a solid run from the two of them.
Yeah.
Not just, here's the titles for now, just so we can give them to FTR. Like, we want to see Ricky and Hobbs have a run, not a 2.5 second run. Yeah.
We'll see. Time will tell. But congratulations to the new champs. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yes.
I just am gonna throw this out here. I know Ricky Starks does not have a plan B. He barely had a plan A.
Yeah.
So, And the problem is, if he invests so much into Tony and Tony doesn't pay it off, at least for Ricky, that's bad. Hobbs is already beloved by so many other people. Hobbs has more of a chance than Ricky does, because you never hear like JR or some of these people, like, because he always calls him Pretty Ricky. It's like, okay, but that's all you do is you call him Pretty Ricky. So you're basically saying to me that he's pretty. Well, yeah, he is pretty and he's got great ass, but you know, there's so much more than that, you know. And Hobbs, everyone, it's like so high on him that he's going to go places. I think that he's going to be the one to take the TNT title off of Wardlow. They're going to build to that, and I see that happening, because that's another big guy match that'll be good. And I think
I could see that happening.
They do that, 'cause
I could also see Hobbs ending up in WWE. If they fail him enough with the booking, I could see Hobbs just saying, I'm going to give WWE a shot. And I could see WWE leaning in on him.
I know he's tried out twice.
Yeah.
One of the times, I think Ricky was in his, one of the times Hobbs and Ricky were in the same one was Guevara. If you look at the photo, there's so many people in there. You're like, holy shit. I know a lot of these people. Carl Fredericks. To name a few. But, and then the other time he went, Jeff Cobb was in the training thing. So it's like, shit, they didn't pick Jeff Cobb. And I mean, fuck. Look at Jeff Cobb. You know, I mean.
Yeah,
so,
but on the
but
same...
no, I think that, but I think enough people would tell Tony with Hobbs, no, you cannot lose this guy. And we're not going to allow you to lose this guy. I think that there's enough people that would talk them out of it. Ricky.
But that's two sides, though.
Like, you don't have anybody who is...
Just because Tony doesn't... Just because you convince Tony just because you can convince Tony not to let him go doesn't mean he doesn't just walk away. You know what I mean? What we know is that Will Hobbs is on WWE's radar. And what we know is that him and Ricky both keeps getting the short end of the stick. If his contract gets close to ending, what's to stop it from giving WWE a call and saying, what do you guys think now? Now you can see some of my work. You can see the crowd getting me over. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he just has more
been
leverage.
2 years. Yeah. It's not, I didn't ask him about his contract. It's not my business. I know nothing about that shit. But it's been 2 years. And it'll be coming up to 2 years for Hobbs. Now, should they have expired by then? Maybe. Because I don't think that they really kind of do multi-year things unless you're someone pretty established. And they both weren't.
That's true.
When they got there.
Could be a 2 or 3.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, I don't know. So, you know, I see maybe if they give Ricky a title, they're probably going to go down that stupid line again and fucking him and Jay Lethal again, which is boring. But I like to see him and Sanjay on the mic because Sanjay's got a fucking mouth. I love it. But, I mean, it's like, what do you do? So, but it was great. I was very proud of both of them.
Yeah.
As I said on Twitter, wrong team won, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Because I'm really interested to see the dynamic of what they do with Swerve and Keith Lee. Because Keith Lee was very, you know, quick to use the shoe. And, you know, who knows what else he would have used.
Yeah.
Because that's not a typical Keith Lee thing, to cheat to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and the other moment I did like was the triple super kick with the Bucks and Ricky and the pose thing. That was,
the pose thing was
awesome.
funny.
I need a shirt. Pro wrestling tees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if they can make a shirt with FTR and Bret Hart, then yeah, they can fucking...
Yeah, you need to give me a Young Bucks with Ricky and that his pose in the middle of the two of them. That's better than Kenny Omega ever did.
That's funny.
Yeah, totally trumps Kenny Omega.
Any final thoughts on the shows?
Not really.
No. But my final thought is, shame on y'all for thinking that you're going to try to do All Out, not in Chicago.
Yeah, that was funny.
Stupid.
Although...
Yeah, they get 3 shows again.
But I did hear that that Now Arena... the Now Arena is not technically in Chicago. And last time they did the show there, it was an absolute nightmare and a mess, and people were stranded in that little outskirt of Chicago for a long time, and it was like bad. So I wonder if they're gonna have a trouble filling it up.
No, no, I was there for All In. Same problem.
Was it the Now Arena?
Same problem. It was the Sears Center before.
Right, so Sears Center's in Chicago. Now Center is not.
No. Mm-mm.
Where's the Sears Center?
No, All In was not in Chicago. That was the same one that's the Now Arena, the one that has the plaque.
Oh.
That they put on the outside. Yeah, no. That's in like Schaumburg. So it's the burb of Chicago. So, again, like my thing is this. Everyone wants Phil to come back so we can do this shit. No. Tony, you need to let fucking Chicago's favorite son, Cabana, you need to let him have a little day in the sun. I don't care if it's a dark match or whatever. That's his home and he's beloved.
Okay. Well, we were talking about the venue.
But yeah, no. But the venue, no, it is actually out in kind of the boonies. The only good thing about it is there's a Marriott there, and that's where we stayed.
Oh,
and
so you were lucky.
It was fine. Yeah, I was lucky. But also, it's one of those things where a lot of people were Ubering. It was okay for them to get Uber, but coming back, no.
Yeah.
It was a shit show because it's like almost like a 1-lane road either way. Yeah. And they could have just opened up both, but they didn't. I don't know why. So it was a clusterfuck even then. And, but a lot of the people who did StarCast were at the Hyatt where that was. And that was like maybe 5 miles away. So, yeah, if you stayed in Chicago, you were pretty fucked. Probably waited a long time. But there was a Culver's there. So
that's funny.
Fat girl me was like, win-win.
So I wonder if at some point it starts to affect their ticket sales, or if they're able to just cycle through enough people who are willing to fight with that. But I've heard the last couple times they were there, it was really bad. So I wonder if also there's probably enough fans who haven't been who are going to find tickets and say, oh, this is cool, and then they'll have their own terrible experience. You know what I mean? I'm sure that there's a few.
They travel to all these big ones.
I'm sure that there's a number of them who are not going to go back after the last one, hearing it's in the same arena. That was one of the reasons we didn't go to Money in the Bank this year.
Because of the arena?
Because the arena. Literally, the arena Money in the Bank was in. We had such a miserable time we went there that we just decided not to go. We said, we'll do other shows.
Oh, where was it at?
Allegiant Stadium.
Oh.
And we know that some of the reasons that it was terrible wasn't exactly like it wasn't their fault. Some of it was their layout. Some of it was their policy. And so we could have easily gone back with a new game plan. But it was also like, no, you guys made it so miserable the last time. I don't want to have to come up with a game plan. So we decided just to not go to the show. So I'm sure there's going to be people who won't go to the show who would have otherwise gone. But there's probably enough who haven't been who want to go who will figure it out as they go, But I wonder if it affects their sales at all. I wonder if we see like a little bit of a slow sale at first and it picks up as it goes.
No, it's going to sell out.
Well, the scalpers have been getting screwed on those. A lot of those sellouts that happen really fast, you end up finding tickets same day for $2 because a lot of the scalpers are scooping them up and then can't sell them.
Well, what's awful is like when they were going to do the forum and everything in LA, man, I was waiting. And there was one who had a single. And I'm like, I know you're not going to get rid of that. You're no way. Like, just give it to me for face. Because then you got your money back.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was just, it didn't sell. When they had All In, I was in the front row, obviously. You've seen me on that. But we were on the ramp side. The 2 seats that were on the ramp, nobody sat there. Why? Because ticket brokers scalpers had them. And they had them for a while. The first price was like $10,000 each. I'm like, no one's going to pay that.
Oh.
Then it came down. Then it came down. And then when it was like a week before the show, it was at 2,000. And I'm like, no one's going to buy that. There's no way, no one's going to do it. And sure as shit, day of, they marked it down to 1,000. Didn't sell them. So those were empty.
Yeah.
So I snuck a friend down there. So, but point of it is that, yeah, the scalpers are getting them. But if it was easier to find these people who have these tickets, it's not like back in the day where you can call these like agencies and stuff and they can get them. Yeah, they're hiding behind StubHub and Ticketmaster and all these things. Because I would be one, like, if they had a single, like me, I would have said, yo, I know you're not going to sell it. Just give it to me for face.
Yeah, a lot of the LA show and stuff like that, and some of the other ones, people were showing same day, like hundreds of tickets on sale for $2 or $6 or less, kind of a deal, because scalpers are scooping them all up, trying to make as much as they can, and then day of just trying to get rid of them. So there's a lot of people who've been waiting and going for dirt cheap. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how it plays out. We'll be back to check it all out. There's a battle royal in NXT this coming up week. I don't remember if there's anything else going on that was like booked that sounded incredible, but we'll break it down when we get there.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Justin, tell people where they can find you and your brother ranting and raving.
You can find us only on Twitter. Find the show on almost every platform but Apple. Like I said, hopefully eventually I can get that there, so I can just say every platform at this point. But find whichever one you want to find on.
I need to get in your computer and help you set up that Apple thing, because pisses me off you're not on Apple. We'll have to square that away. Maybe this weekend we can find time.
Awesome.
Outside of that, maybe we can find time during the week next week. But until then, you can find us at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com. You can go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com/shop to get all of your Wrestling on the Rocks and merch. We got mugs. We got pint glasses. We got tote bags, shirts. I think I put a sweater and a blanket. I thought about putting a shower curtain. You can have a shower curtain. You know what I mean? Like, if you want one, let me know. We'll make it happen. Outside of that, you can find MsAmandaJayne on Twitter. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show. And guys, this is Last Call.
Cheers.
Please continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.